Press 2 if you wanna follow through. Press 3 if you're gay. Press 4 for a three-way. Think about who? Think about what? Think about sluts. Do they know they're sluts? Let's find out. As a disclaimer, you're a bitch, and you should feel like a bitch. Bake cookies and wank on 'em. Give the icing. So sticky. You should fuck the men again and again. Even on a dick. Even on a bad day. Even on a I go bend them over, slap the ass. I go bend them over, slap the ass. I go bend them over, slap the
I make all my songs live on Twitch. You can check that out in the link down below.
Hi, welcome. How's it going, everyone? It's good to see you. You may see a few extra comments today from people who seem a little new. There's a certain video that came out recently where a lot of people will definitely not be familiar with our usual content because they found me somewhere else. So be patient with any new questions that aren't so new. And with that, we're doing a help and advice stream. So if you are struggling with anything, you can feel free to ask for any help and advice you like, because I love doing these streams, but also I found that generally speaking, most of my streams, someone would bust in here and be asking, what can I do about my relationship? What can I do about my dissatisfaction in life? What can I do about my mental health? Even though I've never claimed to be a professional in any of these particular subjects whatsoever. And so in order to preserve the kind of fun atmosphere of other streams and not just drop everything I'm doing and become your personal therapist, I decided to move all of these questions into one part of the week where everyone can just let it loose. If you feel like asking me and you think I could be of help, I'd love to. We dedicate the whole day to just that for you guys. So go ahead and ask, and I can give input. May or may not be good input, may or may not be just Tourette's, but we can see, and if it's useless, then there's no harm done. You and Jack were the best guests on the new Sidemen Sunday. Thank you. That's incredibly sweet. Although I think everyone there personally was pretty amazing. I genuinely enjoyed watching all of them get absolutely shat on by the girls. Quite deservedly, too. I think that's the whole point. I think that the Sidemen just set us up. It's like a humiliation ritual. We just get set up to be turned down terribly, and it's an awful big surprise when anyone says yes. I don't want to work tomorrow. How do I motivate myself? Short answer, I want to go to sleep. Okay, so the way that I handled that, Wildcat, that's a really good question, and thank you ever so much for the super chat. Bitch, I struggled to go to work only once in my life, and that was basically when I had a paper round. I was put through a very unique filter, and even though my life experience is slightly different to yours, I still think it could be really helpful for your situation, so bear with. I had to invent jobs for myself because no one was crazy enough to employ me except for me. And this meant that I turned all of my hobbies into things that I wanted, to make money from. And some people say don't do that because you'll fall out of love with it. But that didn't apply to me because I didn't force myself to do things I didn't want to do. I just monetized the stuff I already felt motivated to do, right? So I started sea glass collecting. That was the first thing I did. I developed a hobby where I collected sea glass off the beach for free. And I sold that when I found out that other people wanted it. And I found the market because I was passionate about it. So I knew what a good piece of high quality glass is, right? And I feel like that meant that I had an excuse to get paid to hang out on the beach all day. And I loved it. So that was how I found motivation. Was I looked at all the things that I'm doing passively and I found a way to make them into a job. And if you are like, well, I need a job to live, I can't just quit today and then go try and monetize my hobby. Absolutely right. That's what a smart person would say. Totally. And that's why this doesn't look like the right advice for you, right? But hold on a minute. Bitch, I have tits. And while that may make this more convincing, trust me, the argument's even better. The fact of the matter is that you can transition from one job to another. You don't need to quit to switch jobs. So if your body is telling you, don't force me to go here again, if your body and mind are screaming at you, I do not want to be there, I do not want to do that, then it's going to get more and more exhausting and more upsetting to go to this job for the rest of your life. Your body and mind is low-key putting up a boundary and going, we don't want to do that. That is not for us. And you are ignoring that for money, okay? And when you could be getting money having fun, I swear to God. So what you can do is you can do something part-time, just a couple of hours a week. Or you can just research something. That could be the first step. Research how you get into something for a couple of hours a week. That could be 15 minutes reading about it on the toilet while you're taking a dump. And it all adds up. You do not need to just go, I'm quitting today because I don't feel like going to work tomorrow. No, you can push yourself to go to work and it can suck whilst you build hope for a better future, which is such a carry. Like, hopes and dreams are like the tanks of your entire setup. Like, they will help pull you through really hard barriers you did not think you could endure. When you realize that this is temporary, this is an intermediate step, a mere act of survival until the real life begins, then it will help you get the motivation to push through because it's not permanent. But you never know. What your situation might be is that you might actually like your job and want your job, but you're just tired as fuck. And that is also your body telling you off and saying, I want dick. It's not saying that. It's saying dick. It's saying dick. It's saying dick. It's saying dick, please. It's not saying dick, please. It's saying, I need more sleep. I need better food. I need better self-care. I need days off where I just do nothing but rest. One of the ways that you can motivate yourself is really counterintuitive, and not a lot of people think about it. So, like, there are certain companies and countries where they have a 4-hour work week, and like they have multiple days off. I think they have like 3 days off instead of 2. And the people who work less produce more for their companies, stay on longer, quit less, and produce more in the working hours that they do than they would have if they did a standard 9 to 5. So basically, rest and downtime makes it so much easier to turn up, to work hard, to really get lots of value out of your time, right? If you know you've only got 4 hours to get something done, you fucking do it, right? And so if you are like, I'm demotivated, I come home, I'm exhausted, and I like, maybe your problem is that you're staying up till like 3 a.m., 2 a.m., watching stuff, playing games, instead of getting rest, instead of recuperating. And maybe sometimes it's that on your days off, you're using it to pressure yourself to do other things that feel productive, and you're not getting downtime. So make sure you schedule full-on hardline downtime. Make sure you schedule a hardline bedtime. Get the sleep, get the rest, get the fucking scrolling time you need, the pointless gaming time, all of that stuff. Schedule it in. Consider it part of your job to do these things, and it will make you better. It will make getting up much easier. Raspberry Doro says, fuck off. Hey Anita, I've officially finished college. My degree will be brought to me won't be brought to me. Well, wait. My degree will be brought to me until next year. What do I do until then? Oh, so are you saying you won't get your degree till next year after you finish college? Is that what you're saying? The would be is confusing me a little. But I would say if you aren't getting your degree and you've just got this gap where you can't use your degree for a year after you've graduated, my suggestion would be fuck off, slut. It wouldn't be that. It would be, you have a year to sample shit, okay? Maybe you know your career direction, but you don't know what you want to do with the other times in your life. Your career is just when you sell time in your life to someone richer than you, usually for the lowest price they're willing, to pay, which sucks. So there's a whole other rest of you to discover, and you now have time. Okay? So that might mean getting a temp job, going traveling a little bit, using that temp job as like a temporary visa to just like, I don't know, work in Australia for a year, doing something simple or fun so that you have some travel, some experience. You might take that time to go and befriend loads of people in the industry that you're about to jump into. So if, say, you're an animator, maybe make some friends that are in the studios that you want to work in. No, don't try to push yourself as a potential candidate. Don't be like, haha, would you employ me? Literally make friends with people who have mutual interests with you, and that way you passively learn about what it takes to be this, the kind of person they're looking for. Do not look for it. Do not have a separate interest, like a predatory kind of view of this relationship, because they'll feel it, they'll sense it, they won't like you. But if you just have friends who are already doing the things you want to do, naturally, it will make it just more likely that you will get to do the things that you want to do. So you could use it as networking time. You could use it to discover your own hobbies. Bitch, you could fuck men. You could literally go and just try a bunch of things. Maybe I like martial arts. Maybe I like climbing. While you have the downtime, you could figure out what the other half of your life, when you're not selling yourself to a CEO, is going to be. This is a gift. Not many people get a set time of self-discovery just like there on the table. This is such an opportunity. Don't waste it, bitch. Don't sit and play computer games until it's time to whip out that degree, right? Because a degree doesn't actually guarantee you a job. That's not what it does, okay? It's like a stepping stone to getting a job, but it's not the guarantee that you will. So you're going to need a lot of other skills alongside that. Social skills, satisfaction in life, confidence. You don't get those sitting in your home just drumming your fingers, waiting for the piece of paper. Get out there. And especially do things that make you a little bit uncomfortable. And by that, I don't mean like show your raw butthole to a passing train. That is supposed to be uncomfortable. That is supposed to be an abhorrent urge, right? I'm talking about go do stuff that sounds fun, but you're a little bit afraid. Go make the friends, go join the knitting club or whatever. Go jump into the Discord full of people with the mutual hobby. Go the places that's like, I would love to be there, but I'm scared. Do it scared. If anything is worth doing, it's worth doing scared. Okay? And Randy says, hi, Sweet Anita, how are you doing today? You are absolutely gorgeous. If I were to find the right gal to start a relationship with, how would I proceed with the relationship without messing up? Okay, so I've got some bad news for you. Bitch, unfuckable. Bitch, you're gonna struggle because there are only a few ways to get something right and a billion ways to get something in your ass, to get something wrong. Okay, I was thinking about having a coffee today. I'm glad I didn't, because God knows how bad the tics would be at this moment if I had. So like there are so many ways to get something wrong. I can't run through in my entire lifetime all the things that you probably shouldn't do in a relationship. They range from don't say she looks bad in that dress to don't take a shit in her parents' fridge. There are so many ways that you could end a relationship, okay? I can't run through them all with you today. But what I will say is that honesty and accountability go a long way. You're not going to be perfect. You're just not. There are lots of things about a relationship you will naturally mess up. That is just part of the process. Usually people stay with someone who fucks up when they learn, when they take accountability, when they show remorse, and they show respect. Okay? So if you defensively go, no, I didn't shit in the fridge. I don't know what you're talking about. And it's like, it literally says signed by Gary. I was here. Enjoy the shit on the door. What the fuck are you talking about, Gary? Right? In those situations, if you are immature and deny and don't work on things and don't change and grow with this person, you will fuck it up. Okay? Because no one's expecting you to be perfect. People are expecting you to be mature. Maturity holds a relationship together. You communicate. You apologize when it's due. You work on things. You change. Because you will not be perfect for a relationship for many reasons. You have blind spots. You're watching your life in first person. There's a bunch of flaws buzzing around of you out of your field of view. Okay? And they are highly visible to the person who lives with you and watches you eat and watches you sleep and watches you talk to others. They watch you fuck up too, and they will be a mirror. One of the hardest things about a first relationship, they will reflect back at you all the things that you missed that you still need to work on. It's one of the most humbling things about a relationship, and it's really fucking hard. And if you are embarrassed and you are full of shame and fear, you may not handle that the way that it's supposed to be handled, and it's meant to be handled like a fucking gift. This is one of the beautiful ways that having a relationship improves you. Okay? And if you don't take it that way, if you don't take embarrassment as just growing pains, bitch, you'll lick tits, you'll end up fucking up every relationship you ever get in. Anita, in your opinion, as a general response, can a really long distance survive 2 years? That is entirely up to you and your boundaries and your level of commitment. I don't do long distance relationships. Thank you so much, Merritt. I don't do long distance relationships because I just consider someone that I enjoy talking to but can't sleep with as a friend. But I know other people don't see it that way. They're like, this is my human. I want to be with them long term someday. We're just not in the situation to be together long term yet. And I'm willing to hold the connection, the string between us, and honor it until we can get to that point. And I think that's beautiful. I think that's really lovely. In my head, that means relationship could be pending if we're still single by the time we're in each other's vicinity. That's what I think of that as. I don't think of that as a relationship. So I'm the worst person to ask. I'll still give you my input in case it's useful. I would say in that situation, if you both set your boundaries and you say, this is what I consider a breach of trust, breaking of boundaries, blah, 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 I'm willing to stick to those rules, are you? To maintain this connection until we can be together. Do you want to do this? Do you want to just stop being in a relationship and then maybe pick it up later when we can actually be together? Or do you want to commit to this? And if you both say yes, and you both find a way to enjoy each other's company and feel like you're together and maintain that connection day to day, then go for it. If you can do that, that's a skill, and that's so beautiful. But if you're not confident and you're asking random underqualified streamers whether I think you two are going to work out, I don't know either of you. One of you could be an asshole. One of you could be like totally not able to honor this agreement in any way, shape, or form. I don't know. But what I will say is, if you know, then go for it. Doesn't sound like you think so, though. Just the fact that you're asking me says that you probably have doubts. But it is Treats O'Clock. For Canyon and Defarfi, I want to answer your questions. However, it is time for Treats O'Clock. So just give me 2 minutes to indulge my cute little rabbits, because this is the highlight of their day. It is 10 o'clock. Pete is now very excitedly getting out of his castle. Oh, look at that Binky. He's so happy. He's so happy. Oh. Oh, flicky ears. You eat this one closer to the camera. Here it is. Oh, bitch. I'll kick you, Dad. It's here. Oh, you're not going to eat it in front of the camera? Wow. He pulled back. At least you can behold his entire chungus. He likes steppies for some reason. He likes it when I pat him on the head with my foot. Oh no, did it get EMP'd? Did it freeze? Ah. I'm refreshing. I'm refreshing. No, we're just gonna go to a different camera. All right, then. I will go give theirs. You can enjoy. I'll try and do Castle Cam. I'll see if it's working. We can do it in front of Castle Cam if I can set it up right and such. I'm double checking if it's coming on screen. It's not. Okay, then. I'll just do it normal camera. Oh, it is. Okay. Castle Cam it is. No, go back. Let's do it. Oh, is it frozen? No. Okay. I fuck dads. I fuck dads. So there's my little lion. He's nice and satisfied now. Watch yourself, Pete. I'm rolling in. And I'm back. Thanks for waiting. Sorry for the wait. Let me just fix my hair and settle in. Whew. Okay. So, for Canyon says, no, wait, there's more. There's nobody. Nobody said advice needed. I was assaulted recently for turning someone down, and now I've been seeing them at really weird times more and more. Should I report them or should I confront them? I'm kind of scared. Okay, nobody, if you're still there, I'm sorry it took so long to get back to that because that is fucking horrible. I'm so sorry you're having to go through that. Sometimes people just don't take no for an answer and it can be risky. Trust your gut. If this seems really off and you're seeing them at times where you should not be seeing them, like they're just around inexplicably, document it, take photos of them, film them. Like that would be number one. So you have evidence to bring to the police because the police cannot act on vibes. They need facts. They need evidence. So even if you don't feel willing to go to the police now, you may change your mind later and you're going to regret having no proof that they were just miraculously everywhere that you were going and that you feel at risk. This will help with things like restraining orders and pressing charges later on. If they come and do something more severe and you have a backlog of they were stalking me long before this incident, it will help you get longer sentences on these people. So it's so important. Gather fucking evidence. Make friends aware. Make family aware. Say, this is a photo of a person who was very inappropriate and assaulted me, and I am not comfortable with them being around. Do not let them befriend you. If you see them in the area that I intend to be, if you see them near us, if you see them lurking, can you let me know in advance so I can either not turn up or so that we can do something about it, like call the police, like do something in that, level of fixing it. If they are sending inappropriate messages, if they are engaging with you in any way that is inappropriate, that you have hard evidence of, take it to their, save it up as much of it as you can. And with as little explanation as possible, lower the word count as much as you possibly can if you do this, because the longer you make your word count, the less likely they are to believe you. Make the evidence speak for itself, but take it to their employer, take it to their family, take it to their friends. That's the next step. If you go, by the way, this person is behaving in a way that I think is severely mentally ill, and I do think that they need help. I think some of their family needs to take them to a mental health service or something like this, because this is not very normal behavior and they will get themselves arrested, and I'm just worried for them. If you come from that angle, people who love them can rein them in. That's also an option for some people. Not everyone, but it's something to consider. So if you know their dad or their mom and you're like, this person's stalking me, they've assaulted me, they're doing all this weird shit, do you think you can convince them to go to a therapist? Do you think that you can convince them to, do XYZ to prevent the harm? Because they could get themselves arrested. I may have to go to the police if this does not stop. Like going directly to them, they're likely to ignore you or thrive on the fact that you engage with them. But if the people that are their support network are suddenly involved in your safekeeping, it can help exponentially for some people. Some people, I'm not recommending violence at all, but when people type, what is the easiest way that you personally got rid of a stalker? A lot of people were like, I told his sister and she beat the fuck out of him. And I haven't seen him since. He was stalking me for 8 years and I kept telling him to stop, and he got arrested twice and nothing stopped him. He broke into one of my houses, but once I told his sister went, I'm so sorry that happened to you. I've got this sorted, and battered the shit out of him and said, you're disowned from the family. And so I'm not suggesting that you should do this, but I saw a lot of these kinds of behaviors happening where it's like, I told their friends and family, I told their workplace, and I never saw them again. So I'm not, if you're the family of a stalker, please don't beat the shit out of them. But the funniest, that was what stuck in my head. That's why I remember. I was like, oh, and then I saw this massive slew of people I used to have a stalker, but then I told his wife. Then I told his wife, and he doesn't have custody of his kids anymore. I had a stalker. I told his place of work. He lost his job and had to move back in with his parents in another country. And now I don't see him anymore. So, stalking and people who can't take no for an answer and get really addicted to being obsessed with you, it is life-ruining behavior. Because people who are that deranged tend to not be able to hold their life together. It's a bad life decision to stalk people. You put yourself in danger of losing a lot of your spare time, losing your capacity to work, losing your source of funding, all this sort of stuff. If you just get addicted to pursuing someone like this, you could get arrested, get a criminal record, all this stuff, and they're gambling that to pursue you, right? So when you tell their support network that they're reliant on to survive, quite a lot of people who are mentally ill enough to stalk you, and that's what this sounds like. It sounds like you're being stalked. Bitch. People who are mentally ill enough to do that quite often are reliant on their parents. Just laying that out there. So if their parents know that their son is spending his pocket money on buses to go sit outside your house, suddenly the pocket money disappears. You know? If your son is doing criminal behavior and sending death threats and turning up on your doorstep and turning up at your work and scaring the shit out of you, suddenly they don't want a criminal living in their basement anymore. Bitch! Yes, this is it. You're being stalked, bitch. So yeah, like, I think that it's important that your support network knows and their support network knows. But if you over-explain it, it looks like a beef between you two. You gotta lay it out as, I'm worried for your son. I just hope they don't get themselves in trouble because I need to survive and things, and I don't want to have to resort to calling the police. But I may have to if you just can't help them, you know? And so their parents think, oh, I can help my son by making sure they never bother you again. You know? The next one is Fort Canyon, who said, I have a really offensive tics and I'm worried about losing my job because it doesn't count as discrimination to fire someone for tics that disrupt the workplace or go against professionalism, dignity, courtesy, and respect. Sweetheart, there's nothing you can do about your tics. There is something you could do about your job. I would line up a backup job if you feel like people are scoping out to fire you, okay? What I would do in your position, bitch, is I would go to my manager and I'd be like, can we have a talk? Can we arrange a time for a talk? And they'd be like, yeah, what's up? And you go, I know I have Tourette's. I know I have really inappropriate tics. I can't suppress it. Trying to suppress it would cause me severe harm. So, is it acceptable? Am I okay? Will I lose my job over this? Like, is this something that is a problem that is causing issues in the workplace? Because I need to know now so I can take the right actions to sort this. And don't hint that you might be looking for another job, okay? Just be like, I need to know now if this is an issue that could get me fired. And then what you do from there is if they are like, well, it could be very disruptive and we don't really have a lot of room for you to do X, Y, and Z, and you're like, fuck, mentally you're like logging, you're going, okay, good to know. And you're like, fuck, I do X, Y, Z. In that situation, you line up jobs where it doesn't matter if you tick. May I suggest dead people or control centers where you interact with, by the way, dead people as in like mortician, okay? Something to do as a job, not just something to do. Something to do as a job, okay? And like working with machines, working nights, things like being a security guard, just watching cameras, you know? Bitch! These sorts of things. Things where you don't have to be professional as fuck. Or just the same job where you have a more chill, more inviting, more accepting group of people, you know? But the fact of the matter is, I have really bad Tourette's. It has stopped me from getting jobs, absolutely. And what I had to do was I had to find a job where I could just be there and have Tourette's at the same time and it not be an issue. I was never going to shoehorn myself into places where it's like, I probably shouldn't be here. Like, ain't nobody going to employ me to manage a fucking library. You know? No one's going to ask me to be at the call center for 999. You know, because I'll be like, hello, emergency services, I will fist your dad. And they're like, they'll think they called the wrong number. So I obviously had to find the right place for me. And that is so much more doable than trying to suppress and trying to shoehorn yourself into a place where you're not meant to be. I'm just going to lay that out there. Absolutely. Because when you suppress and when you feel afraid and when you feel shame and when you're constantly having to deal with the situation, when you should just be turning up and just focusing on work, that kind of suppression, even not just to do with tics, suppressing your feelings for a long time is strongly correlated with cancers, nervous system disorders, autoimmune disorders. You can make yourself permanently fucking erect, permanently a dick, permanently sick by forcing yourself to bear something you shouldn't be. Can't say this enough. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Good luck, sweetheart. I hope you get to keep your job. Chris, thank you so much. And Battle Panties, it's so good to see you, sweetheart. Thank you. The next person who asked, the mods are taking questions and putting them in a list for me so that if the questions come too fast, I still get to you. So if you've asked a question, stay tuned. The mods have probably saved it for me to answer. Don't worry. Unless you're being a pervert, you're probably in waiting, okay? We got Clasher who says, what do you do? Wait, no, I skipped one. Defafi says, bitch, I touch cats. Repost, but this time with bits. So I have an interesting one. I finally found a home, and plus 3 walls are incredibly thin and easy to hear my neighbors, meaning they can probably hear me too. I asked the renter to put sound panels against the wall, but that's not allowed. As a result, I've got anxiety attacks. How would you suggest I handle this problem when I want to game and stuff? Okay, I got tips. One of them is that you can go on YouTube and there are renter-friendly sound insulation. There is renter-friendly sound insulation. Not only is it useful now, but you can take it down, pack it up, take it with you to the next place you decide to rent in the future. So things like wood panels, wool panels, and just like sound suppressing panels are really, really good for insulation, sound insulation, and also sound muffling. Also, I have these wireless headset. Okay, I have this wireless headset that I really, really love. And with this, I have a transparency mode, so I don't shout too loud. I'm aware of my vocal volume, okay? All of the sound from my games is completely quiet, and I'm aware of just how loud I'm speaking, because I can hear myself, and I can hear the room, okay? It's also good for safety. Like, if someone broke in, I wouldn't be oblivious, because it has a sound cancelling mode, which is really top tier, but I have the transparency, so I can be aware of my surroundings. So maybe getting a good headset and getting removable sound insulation. Therefore, you're not worrying about your landlord at all. You are relying on yourself. Would be my first go-to for that, bitch. Cloth carpets and curtains help with sound isolation? Oh, absolutely. But there's like more heavy duty stuff available. Always read the reviews before you invest in anything. So you want to have 2,000 to 3,000 high good reviews on something before you commit to it. Because some sound insulation, woo, gets me hard, gets some sound insulation is an utter scam. Clasher said, what do you do when you're at the point where you have to choose yourself and peace, or choose life and career that you don't like because of family and responsibilities, where I have to sacrifice the years? Okay, it depends on what the family and responsibilities is, because if you had a kid, that's on you, and you need to make the decision that is right for the kid. Absolutely. But like, if your mom and dad are pressuring you to get the career that they paid for your fucking college for, ignore that. No one gets to dibs your life. No one gets to pressure you into being something you don't want to be. If your external pressures are just people who have expectations of you that you want to get on with, ignore it. It's so hard but you have to do what you want to do, because you only get one life, and you will spend the last 10, 20 years in the old folks' home looking back, fucking regretting changing your whole life trajectory for people who don't deserve to decide what happens to you. You have to decide. You get one life. You can't let other people go, Dibs, that's my life. You're going to be a doctor. I've decided. Nope. Fuck that. The other thing is, just because they're genetically similar to you does not mean that you owe them anything. Okay? So family are the people that you choose, people that you mutually respect. And respect, a lot of people don't know what respect means. Respect means you consider them how you make them feel before you act. And if they don't consider how it makes you feel to pressure you to live a life that you don't fit in, they don't respect you. You can have a word with them and say, this isn't respect, this isn't the trajectory I'm willing to go down. I need to live my own life. And real people who really respect you will be like, okay. But yeah, nobody gets to dibs your life or decide how it goes for you. However, if you throw someone into existence, that is a commitment you made before they were even born. So, like, do not screw your children. Do not, like, sink your partner into loads of debt and financially screw them. These people, you made a commitment to their quality of life. Like, do the right thing by them. So if you're making a choice where it's like, I could make 100K a year doing this job that I hate, or I could go bankrupt and have nothing for a while whilst I go backpacking on Australia to discover myself, I'd say that's an asshole move, okay? This advice there's a spectrum here. Absolutely. And if it's on the spectrum of my family wants me to have this life because they think it's impressive and cool and I don't really want to do it, yeah, fuck those people. You don't owe them shit. But you do owe the people that you bring into your life and create. If you create dependency, you need to honor that dependency, okay? Hi, therapist. Thank you. Bitch! Cuddle Bear says, hi, Anita, I don't want to put a dampener on your whole life, but I lost my partner and daughter in a car crash 5 weeks ago. What advice do you have for me to move forward? I'm so sorry that happened to you. Fuck off, dickhead. You got dicked. You got dicked by a cop. You got bitch. You got bitch. You got, sorry. I've had a lot of tics today. I was fine earlier. I don't know why this is happening so badly. Bitch. I would say I lost both of my parents last year within a couple of months of each other. So I have a little bit of understanding of what it means to lose people very suddenly that you expected to have a lot more time with. And there's a lot of things that people don't consider about losing someone suddenly that was supposed to live a lot longer, that you were supposed to have a lot more time with, which is that, you know, obviously you love them and you wanted more time with them, but there were also, if there's anything that you wanted to fix, you have no more time to fix it. And, you know, there's a lot of things like that that pop up that are really, really fucking hard. Being reminded of them all of the time, you know? And for people who believe in an afterlife, like ghosts or heaven and things like this, it makes going about your daily business really fucking hard. Like, how do you take a shit if you're wondering if your dead dad is just checking in to say goodbye right now? Like, you're like, what if I'm on the toilet and I have a vision of my dad? I don't want to say goodbye on the toilet. You know, anything that you think is private, you know, becomes a little bit awkward if you're wondering if they're looking down on you. So there's a lot of little mini struggles every day that will pop up that are really, really hard, along with the really obvious big ones. And anybody who's like, oh, I lost my distant grandma that I spoke to like once a month on the phone. I lost them when I was like 7 years old, which is 20 years ago. So I know how you feel. And it's like, thanks. I appreciate the sentiment, but that doesn't help me at all. Like, there's going to be a lot of times where people are really want to be helpful and have no idea how. So you're like, I'm sure you can relate to a lot of these things with sudden loss. So here are the things that I would say, like, you're like, yeah, that I agree. What can I do? So if this is affecting you day to day and you hate your life and you wish you could join them, that is therapy time. Your friends and family are not qualified professionals. They are not equipped to tell you what you need to hear. Okay? They might be really helpful. They might be really supportive. But if it's not dragging you out of a deep depression and you're struggling to cope, therapy is absolutely a core, first common sense answer. to talk to them about your thoughts and feelings so you can muddle through them and separate the unhealthy ones from the helpful ones. Okay? That is a real resource that most of human history did not have access to, and you do. Do not waste it. You can get it online these days. You can literally go to established, well-reviewed websites where therapists will have video calls with you. You don't even need to step into a room to do this. There are charities that will help support you if you can't afford it as well. So if money's a barrier, that doesn't have to be a barrier. Absolutely connect yourself with a therapist if it's getting too much, okay? The next thing I'm going to say is don't use substances to help. The alcohol will not lift you out of this, and gambling will not lift you out of this. Sex will not lift you out of this. Those are distractions. They keep you in the worst case feeling. They don't lift you out of it. They just distract you from it for a little while. So you stay standing there. And that's a trap because the distraction gets shorter and shorter, and you're going to need more drugs. You're going to need more gaming. You're going to need more gambling. You're going to need more and more of this thing to get even a tiny little drip of distraction. And you're still right there in the feeling the whole time, never moving out of it. So don't let the feelings come. The feelings are meant to be there. You'd be a fucking psycho if anybody that you love died and you were like, okay, and carried on working and carried on living and carried, like that would not be normal or typical. So it's okay if you are suffering and you need to sit with that suffering and go, yep, I'm suffering. Like, that's okay. That is so normal. Ride the feeling, experience the feeling. There's no need to distract from it. The more you just focus on it and let it pass and run through, you have that cry. Be angry, be sad, These sorts of things, if you let yourself feel the feeling, it's more likely to develop into something you can push past. You'll never get over losing these people, but you'll get to a functional point a lot sooner if you own and process those feelings rather than distract yourself. The next thing is, if these two things are not enough, support groups. There are support groups for other people who are in your exact situation. Sometimes that looks like almost like an AA meeting sort of thing, where lots of people who get together who've lost someone precious, right? Like a kid, for example. Or it could be Reddit. Reddit has whole r/communities for people suffering with the same thing as you, and they can be tremendously fucking helpful in ways you never expected. I started losing my hair. I went on r/female hair loss. They completely flipped my life, completely changed it in every single way. Within minutes, I found stuff I'd never heard anywhere else, not from Google, not from advisors, not from doctors, nothing that really worked for me. And so there are people, there's r/grieving, r/loss, there's r/everything, no matter how niche you want it to be. If you only want to talk to people who have specifically lost a wife and kid in a car crash, there will absolutely be an online community for people like that. So, bitch, suck it. You should absolutely fuck cats. You should absolutely go. And fuck cats. You should fuck cats. You should definitely go and find the support that works for you. And I would say there are so many people, before I leave that, there are so many people in World War II in the UK who lost their children and their partner during the World War. There are literally millions of people who sent their son off to war and never saw him again. Loved their husband dearly, never saw him again, never got any answers on how he died. And they lived in a time where there wasn't therapy, where there wasn't any kind of normal level of support or understanding. And so many of them still managed to push through. So even if you never found these support networks, there's still a way to get through because millions of humans have faced this. I'm not saying that to diminish you, I'm just saying it's so possible to find love and find a sense of purpose and enjoy things again, because so many people have proven that it can be done. You just have to find your way. And I wish you all the best, and I hope you have a really long and happy life, regardless of what happened. And hopefully that's helpful. It's not legacy. Says, how do I cope with leaving my girlfriend? It turns out that she cheated on me with kissing a lot of guys since October-ish. And she told me she kissed a guy, and I digged out the real truth from her. We were together for 5 years. How do I cope with this type of stuff? You thank God it was only 5 years. That's the first thing. Congratulations, you vegan bitch. You discovered this before you had kids and a 20-year mortgage and like a lifelong commitment to this person, like the earlier you find out, the better news this is, okay? Because it is so hard to find out when you've committed 30, 40, 50 years of marriage to a human being that they were a cunt and you never knew them the whole time and you just served someone who didn't give a fuck about you and was disrespecting you the whole time. Like, that is a nightmare scenario. It's so hard to deal with. So when you find out you're not someone's match when you thought you were, you are dodging a bullet. Doesn't feel like it right now, but you dodged a fucking bullet. You got lucky. Okay? Because all assholes hide their behavior. You're very lucky when the mask slips before you waste your life on them. Okay? The next thing is you're going to have trust issues. That is a natural trauma to have from people who love you and tell you they love you every day and you give years of your time to, and they turn around and betray you and stab you in the back. That is going to give you trust issues. You can go to therapy for those. That is definitely a thing that therapy can help you with. Okay? They can help you with helpful behavioral patterns that allow you to have healthy relationships after your trust has been shattered with other people, not with the same person. Don't get it's the toppiest tier of self-disrespecting to stay with it here. I'm saying when you move on, you may carry a little bit of this with you and carry this fear with you. Therapy can be so helpful for that. The next part is it's okay to be sad. It's okay to miss someone who screwed you over. That's normal and healthy. Nothing just instantly switches off your feelings for someone, even cheating. It is not insane to be sad you had to break up with someone, to miss someone you kicked out the door. It's okay to boot someone in the ass out the door, slam it, and go, oh man, I wish Cheryl was here. And then walk over, serve yourself some food, do yourself some self-care, watch your favorite show, eat some ice cream, go hang out with a friend and have fun, It's okay to do all of those things. The one thing I will recommend you don't do, okay, don't drunk text them. If that's a risk, delete their number. Or give their number, delete it off your phone, give it to a friend for emergencies. And if you ring them going, hello, love, how's your tackle? I'm absolutely trolleyed, mate. Can I have Shirley's number? Because I have a few things to say to her. And they'll be like, no, you don't get Shirley's number drunk. Okay? You get Shirley's number if, she's your point of contact and you are, in the hospital with 8 broken limbs. You don't get Shirley's number because you're drunk. Okay? You can do that to protect yourself from doing something horrifically embarrassing drunk if you'd like, if you need it. Okay? But don't use somebody's body as a springboard to bounce back off. Don't bounce off someone else's genitals back into life. And by that, I mean don't find a rebound. Okay? Your feelings are not a rubber ball. You can just bounce off a pussy and they come back all happy and bright. Right? People are not devices you use to deal with your shit. Okay? Sex is not a form of therapy. When you get in a relationship, you should be healthy, happy, and totally over your ex. You should not be crying about your ex, so you go to a bar to stuff your feelings in somebody else's holes. Because it'll make you feel worse about yourself and you'll hurt someone else. You're just taking the pain that your ex gave me and you're passing it to someone who thought they connected with you. Exactly. Yeah, hopefully that's all helpful advice. Good luck with your breakup. Good on you for dumping that piece of trash. Hopefully this is a big lesson for her. And, I've been cheated on too. It sucks. Do you know what's really cool about being cheated on? It means you were the hot one. It means you are the hot one. Hot people or more attractive people the more attractive person in the relationship is statistically less likely to cheat. It's usually the uglier person in the relationship's behavior, according to studies. So take it as a compliment. Oh, I was the attractive one. I could do better. I'll just find someone who isn't a piece of trash. Good luck. And you go and you find someone when you're ready in the future who's worth dedicating yourself to. For me, it was a 7-year relationship. That sucked. So I've been where you are. It gets better. I love you. Someone donated. Thanks for the super chat. What are your pet peeves? Noisy eaters. Can't stand it. People go. People who don't close their mouth when they chew. I'm screaming inside. It takes me from naught to feeling violent. so fast. People who are endlessly chewing gum with their mouth open. So I could never be with someone, I could never live with someone, I could never exist with someone who eats noisily. I can't. I'm so attuned to it. I hate it so much I can hear it from anywhere in the house. My mom had an ex who ate loudly, and oh my god, I could hear it from anywhere in the house, and I hated it, and it drove me nuts. Drove me fucking nuts. Could not. I have misophonia too. Yeah, it has a name, but yeah, due to the misophonia, I can't. I really can't do noisy eaters. Like, if I went to a date and someone was slapping their chops while they were eating their food, I'd just get up and leave and go, I'm not gonna waste your time. It was really nice to meet you, but you know, and I wish you the best, but we're not the right fit. And Picosaurus said, recently I've come to the realization that I put far more effort into my relationships with my dad. It's been very disillusioning and far more effort into my relationship with my dad. And it's been very disillusioning and hasn't felt great. I've had some time with these feelings, and I think going forward, I'm going to stop trying so hard. The decisions offered some relief, but I'm pretty bummed out about it. Would love some other perspectives. I think that you don't get enough time on this earth. So when you realize that you're squandering it and you budget your time for the best, like for the best and most efficient situations, then you're doing yourself a solid. You're taking care of yourself. I think one of the hardest things that you're going to have to learn to be is your own parent. Not because you're distancing yourself from your dad, but because that's what we all are. We raise ourselves. We raise ourselves every single day until we die. We teach ourselves, we protect ourselves, we love ourselves, we encourage ourselves, we support and advise ourselves 24/7. You are learning to be a parent every day. And this means that you're protecting yourself. You are raising your inner child. You're saying, hey kid, don't spend time with that guy, he doesn't care. And that is smart. That is beautiful. That is an act of love. And a lot of people don't get as far as you just have. Bitch. So you should absolutely be proud of yourself for coming to this conclusion, even though it's really fucking hard. A lot of people stay in denial their whole life because they would rather waste their time than acknowledge that their parents don't love them the way that they need. And that sucks. So I'm just proud of you. I don't think you need advice. I think you're doing the right thing. And I don't think that every relationship has to be thoroughly reciprocal in every single way. I don't think there should be some unwritten contract that if I do this for you, you have to do this for me. But like, if you were celebrating someone's birthdays and they never celebrate yours, if you're always the one to message first, if you go above and beyond to help them with things like moving, for example, and you already know they're never going to turn up for you, they would never help you move in a million years, then you know that you feel more strongly about this person than they do about you. And it's okay to notice that and move that love and attention to somebody or some hobby or even just yourself. Move it towards something that can love you back. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it doesn't have to be another person. You don't have to go find another dad. You don't have to go wandering in the fucking supermarket and go, will you be my daddy? Because mine is no good. Like, you can literally just use this time to parent yourself. You don't have to transfer it to anybody. Yeah, you can put this into having an awesome birthday for yourself. You can put it into celebrating yourself and taking care of yourself, cooking longer meals for yourself, these sorts of things. But you're doing amazing, sweetie. Well done. And a follow-up message. Cuddle Bear says, thank you, Anita. I will watch more of your streams. You made me smile for the first time since they passed. Oh, I will try to push myself to look into therapy. Thank you so much. I believe in you, sweetheart. I believe in you. You're gonna make me fucking cry. Good luck. My wife is a workaholic. Years of broken promises and minimal investment in the relationship. What should I do? It is generally isolating to have a partner that just doesn't show up in the relationship. I think if you talk to them and you go, this is what I would need from a relationship. I need you to show up. and I need you to commit to showing up. And if they go, sure, and don't change, you set an internal deadline that you don't give to them. Okay? You set an internal deadline that they don't know about. You go, I give you 2 weeks to show this, and then I'm making a mental note to look back on the past year down the line. And if they keep up the act for a short time and then drop it once they think that I've settled and that I'm staying, I know that they're manipulative and they don't love me. They are just holding me in place. They don't love me, they just don't want to lose me. The thing with some people is that they don't love their partner, they love being loved. They got with you as a form of need to meet their needs, but not because they had anything to give. This is why sometimes when you date with an empty bucket, when you date because you're lonely, you can end up, I don't know, shopping hungry and bringing home trash. That doesn't make you trash, it just means that the relationship is trash. You're incompatible, right? And so what this means is sometimes people will hold you in place even though they don't love you. It seems so confusing. Why would this person stay with me for all these years? Why would this person be here if they didn't want to be in the relationship? But some people are just really bad at ending relationships. Some of them are just avoidant and don't want to be the bad guy. Okay? Some people are like, I don't want to have to leave you because everyone will think less of me. So I want you to leave. And they will just be shit for as long as it takes for you to get the self-respect to get out. They just put all the onus and responsibility on you. And so, why is my bucket empty? I don't like this analogy. Oh, right. So if you have an empty bucket when you start dating, it means that love is meant to be overflow. You're supposed to tend your own garden. You're supposed to look after your own house. You're supposed to look after your career and make yourself happy. And then go, oh, I've got a bunch of free time and resources. I'd love to give them to someone special. I have some overflow to give to others. But some people sit at home alone and they're like, I don't know how to fulfill myself. I don't know how to distract myself. I don't know how to love myself. I don't know how to do all this shit for myself. I feel lonely. I hate it when I'm alone. I don't like being alone with me. So they go shopping for a boyfriend or a girlfriend, not really actually just loving someone because they are Jeff. They're not like, Jeff is amazing. I met Jeff the other day. Can't stop thinking about Jeff. I would love to spend the rest of my life with Jeff. Jeff is cool because he is Jeff specifically. That's love. You love the person. But when you go dating and you're just like, I just need someone to fill this massive gap in my capacity to like myself. I need someone to love me for me because I don't know how to love me. I need someone to be fun and interesting for me because I don't know how to be fun and interest myself. And those people, when they shop out of need, they get in relationships that aren't right for them because they're just like, yes, feed me, feed my ego and sense of self, feed my need for all these things. And they don't have anything to give to you because they didn't even have any to give to themselves in the first place. So they don't know how to provide it for anyone else. And they're draining you. They're like a little mosquito going, and they're sucking all the blood out of you. They're sucking all the love, attention, effort. They're getting you to do all the shit for them, but they don't really care about you. They're just glad that you're there. And if you feel like that is you, if you're like, you don't really love me, you just love being loved. I'm just convenient. It's just scarier to not have me here. Right? I could have been anyone. I'm just the one who stayed. And this doesn't feel personal anymore. If you're in that, you have to leave. If you communicate and you give them a chance to fix it and you go, I don't know if we're right for each other anymore, you just don't show up. And they're like, I can show up. And then they show up for like a week and go back to being a piece of shit again. They are holding you in place. They are drowning and they are just holding onto your legs so you don't get to surface. That's all this is. And you need to shake fucking loose before they steal more of your time in life because you might miss an opportunity with someone you do click with for as long as you let them hold on. I hope you find the person you really deserve, sweetheart. How do I justify all the time I spent writing when I have nothing but many notebooks to show for this lifelong craft I've been doing? At what point do I give up on being a writer? So if you were looking for someone to rush in and give you a gold star and say, well done, you're a writer now, you have an achievement unlocked, and that achievement looks like, I don't know, book sales, or a deal with a magazine or something, I don't know if you'll ever be satisfied with your job. So when I started streaming, I didn't stream with the hope that I would get loads of viewers. I didn't even stream my dick. I didn't stream dickies. I didn't stream because I hoped to get anything out from it. I streamed because regardless of how it went, I enjoyed streaming. And if nobody watched, or if 1 million people watched, anywhere in between, I would have been glad that I did it. And when you love something and it's a fun hobby, you'll do it regardless of the result. So, like, there are plenty of painters who never really got a cool result out of it. They're like fucking Van Gogh, wasn't it? Didn't Van Gogh not even ever get famous, but he kept painting his whole life? Didn't he barely make any money from his paintings? They were worth so much more after he died. And it's like, if he didn't love his craft, he wouldn't have changed all of the art world with his work. If he didn't do it just because he loved it, the world would be different right now. Thoroughly fucking different. So, I don't know. If you don't love it unless there's results, maybe you never did. Maybe you just love results and you could get those results with a different hobby. But like, if you love writing and it felt good to put the pen to paper, it felt good to create those things, then you never wasted your time and you were a writer this whole time. It was never wasted if you enjoyed doing it. Because the truth of the matter is that most writers will disappear and be forgotten. Most books and stories will disappear and be forgotten. Even passages of the Bible have been deleted and forgotten. There was a book of Magdalene, by the way. There was a book of Mary, book of Magdalene. You know? So like, there are loads of really incredibly world-changing, meaningful things that were written that are now gone. It's more likely, no matter how many results you get from your books or from what you write, you'll be forgotten one day anyway. The result will disappear. Even if it outlasts you, it will still disappear. So the result can't be the source of satisfaction because it's not guaranteed. That's why conservation is so important. Yeah, I agree. But also why getting other people to validate you will sap the joy from everything you ever do. Because the chances are in 100 years, no one will ever know you did any of it anyway. So you have to do it for the joy of it. You have to find a way to reshape your sense of satisfaction. Also, marketing. You might just be shit at marketing. It may well be that you can be the writer and get the results, but you just don't know how to put all those piles of notepads into something people want. And if that's not your skill, you can develop it. You can absolutely study and develop how to market your work. But if it's just not a skill that you ever really pick up, then you can just collaborate with someone who's not creative but knows how to market. More often than not, the people who know how to get content out there and seen are not the people who are good at making the content. In my line of work, most of the people that make people famous and manage their careers are people who tried and failed at it themselves. They knew the formula, they just didn't have the right ingredients. And so maybe you just need to collaborate with someone who knows the formula, lacks the ingredients, because you have the ingredients. Maybe that's your gap. You don't have to give up on achieving anything as a writer, but you do need to reshape your relationship with it. Change your attitude towards your craft, even if you do find someone to market your shit. And I hope that helps. Fuck off. Fuck off, fuck off. How do we deal with failure? Failure is essential to all success. People who are afraid to fail never try. Failing is how you learn to do something. None of us would be walking if we didn't fall 1 million times as toddlers. It is an essential ingredient to anything worth getting to. Absolutely. And the reason why people fear failure is because we went to school. And school tests you at the end of the month or the end of the module to see how good or bad you are. And you can either try and fail or try and do well. Those are the two options. And you'll be taught, you get scared of failure. You don't see it as part of the learning process at all in the way that we're taught. You internalize that if you aren't as good at it by the end, if you haven't improved at the set pace, then you are dumb. You are worthless. You have failed. And the truth of the matter is that everyone who's ever done anything worthwhile has had a bunch of failed projects behind them, including me. There was a bunch of different things I tried to do in life that never really went anywhere. I'm so glad I did every single one of them, because I may have not gotten a steampunk jewelry career out of that skill, but I did learn a bunch of things about building and marketing and photography and building websites and starting online stores and all this stuff. I used those skills. I used them for the rest of my life. So even failed relationships are really important because you use the knowledge from that to build a really good one later. They say that all good judgment comes from bad judgment. Your failures build you. And like you regret never trying so much more than you regret failing at a few things. When you look back on your life, if you try nothing because you're afraid, you feel like a bigger failure than looking back at a bunch of projects that didn't work. And every single businessman, CEO, like every single person you ever look at with any degree of success has a bunch of really massive fucking failures behind them that they just carried on past. Some of them should have ended them. Like, if somebody can rape a bunch of people and still be president, then, like, surely your fuck ups aren't that bad and aren't that much of an obstacle. Like, it's the most depressing example I can give you, but there is a glimmer of hope in there, which is, wow, if someone who fucked up their life that badly, went bankrupt multiple times, by the way, now in charge of everyone's money in the States, essentially. So, yeah, no, failures are not supposed to hold you back. They're supposed to teach and like, improve you. Failure is a tool. It's not a reflection of who you are, it's just a tool you use to get things done. You need to develop a really good relationship with failure. And there are therapies to help you with it. There's called rejection therapy. This lady, she felt insecure and ugly and she didn't really like her life. And she wanted to get past her fear of asking for things, her fear of lots of stuff basically, and her self-esteem. So what she did as her rejection therapy was she applied to be a model. And she knew she'd get a no, but the whole point was to get used to being told no and see that it's not the end of the world. So she just applied for the most insane, stupid thing she should never ask for. She aimed higher than she ever thought she deserved to get used to being told no. And you know what she got? A modeling career. There was a woman who, to get used to being told no, she went into a bakery and asked for a free pastry. You know what she got? Free pastries. Once you get over yourself and over the idea that people will fail you, that people will call you a failure, that people will judge you, that you won't do something right. Once you get past all of that, you just have the audacity, you'll do really, really well. Was she hot? I mean, it's not for me to say, I barely remember. But you probably Google her story to see. But yeah, the main thing, it's not the failure that's fucking you up, it's the shame. And failure shouldn't come with any shame. Leaf Green says, as an adult, how do I get into dating? I feel like I had some sort of anxiety attack just sitting across from a beautiful woman and the expectations if it went well. Okay, so my advice for you there, number one, dating is hard no matter what age. The fact that you're an adult doesn't really add or negate anything. Age has nothing to do with dating. There are people who are 16 who are going on dates with their first ever boyfriend, and there are people at 96 getting married for the first time. I'm not kidding, okay? Every age, it's going to be nerve-wracking because you want someone to like you, you want someone to approve of you, to reciprocate, and you don't know if you're going to get that. And that gamble is scary. And the shame that comes with potentially being rejected and things like that is scary. It is. And you don't have to fault yourself for that. I am not afraid of dates, and I'm not afraid of people I'm attracted to. I made a method where I don't have to be afraid in dating whatsoever, and I never get turned down. And basically, the way that you get dates that never turn you down is you learn social skills. You make friends. Before you ever pursue anyone romantically, you make friends with a bunch of people that you're not attracted to. And the social skills, that knowing these people, interacting with each other, picking up like body language and stuff, that fuck off. That will teach you when someone is attracted to you and when someone isn't. When people are interested in you romantically, they behave in a different way that is very, very easy to spot. You can spot it from orbit. Okay, so like when you're in a friend group and two people like each other, everyone knows except them. Usually it doesn't dawn on them till later, but everyone can see it. They can see that these two people want to spend more time with each other. They look at each other more than they look at anyone else in the room. They ask each other more questions. Whenever they ask the room a question, they care more about this person's response than anyone else. You know, all this stuff. And you see it. You can see it from a million miles away, right? And so when you have social skills, you see it too. Okay, so now that I have social skills, I know when anyone's into me. I can feel it. I can see it really clearly. I'm just like, yep. And this means that I only ever ask people out that I've already shown an interest, that I'm already getting a vibe from. I never ask people out to figure out whether or not they like me. I feel like we teach men to do that, and it's why they get turned down a lot, and it's why it causes them so much rejection trauma. A lot of men are terrified of being turned down. It's because we put them in a position where they have to ask people, do you like me? Do you want me? And like, women are just like, I don't know. I've seen you for like 6 seconds. What the fuck do you think, random man? No! And so they get turned down a lot, and it's traumatizing. And you don't have to go through all of that if you just have basic human skills. Okay? You can sense when people like you and when they're like, get away from me, weirdo, in the street. And you can see that non-verbally before you put yourself on a platter and go, would you like me? My entire masculinity and sense of pride and my entire idea of myself hinges on whether or not you want me, random stranger. Do you want me? No pressure. Can I have your details? And that is not going to work anywhere near as well. So the thing that will make it easier, if you have friends. Oh, not least because it will teach you to spot when people gel with you, but also it will put you in contact with a huge branch of people, and you're more likely to meet someone you like. Okay, you're more likely to meet your love of your life at your mate's like kid's bar mitzvah or whatever, or like at your friend's birthday party, or your mom's stepsister's fucking housewarming party or whatever, than you are from a dating website. Because a dating website profits off you being single and needing the website, but your mom does not profit off you being single. So the people that you meet through her are not going to be as incompatible and weird. So yeah, it opens up opportunities, but that should be secondary. You should have social skills. If you can't hold a conversation, you're not going to keep someone interested in you for 10 years if you can't keep someone interested in you platonically for 10 minutes. Learn to hold a conversation. Learn to have 5-10 year friendships. Learn to socialize with people. Learn body language. Pick up the skills that get you someone infatuated with you. Because yeah, that's where your relationships lie. That's where it's gonna bloom. Where do I learn all this, please? You learn this, you pick it up as just life experience as you go along when you make friends. That's how you do it. Unless you have autism, then I recommend going to a therapist who can help decipher this shit for you so you can process it in a way that makes more sense to you, because that can be hugely helpful. Like if you have some sort of condition that makes it hard for you to read faces and emotions and stuff, going to a therapist who specializes in your neurodivergency will give you the cheat sheet so that you can still have these interactions and enjoy them and understand them. Has chatting like this so much to Twitch helped with your Tourette's? No, it's a neurological disorder. My brain isn't going to magically learn how to communicate with my nervous system because I spoke to you. I wish you could be the cure for Tourette's, but no, it has not improved or worsened my condition whatsoever. Fix Me Hook Hat says, how do I get over my avoidance? I've been going through a traumatic situation for a few years now, and any mention of this topic is genuinely painful, but it prevents me from potentially improving things. Therapy. That is absolutely a therapy thing. A therapist will give you really consistent long-term guidance over time of the situations that are barring you from progressing. You can help muddle through your feelings and reorganize them in a way that benefits you instead of holding you back with a therapist. They are qualified for this. They exist for this. Do not skimp on therapy, people. It is incredibly useful, and it's a tool that most of humanity never had access to. It used to be like a few thousand years ago, if you watched your kid get eaten alive by a saber-toothed tiger, you would just have to sit with that feeling and have flashbacks to it for the rest of your life, and no one would ever help you through that or help you process it or help you learn how to live after an incident like that. But now you have the shit. You have things that every generation from now to medieval times to ancient history, every one of them would have loved an opportunity to have someone give them the tools to manage these awful feelings that come along with life and trauma. Please do not skimp on it. Please do not overlook such an amazing gift that most humans never got. I prefer alcohol to therapy. I'm not judging. You do you. I've been there. However, I will say that doesn't solve the problem. It just adds liver failure. Now you've got sad feelings plus liver failure. Now you've got all the shame and dysfunctional family or whatever, and liver failure. So, I feel like that would just add to your problems. Turt the Hurt says, any advice for decision paralysis? Spent a long time in the military and absolutely struggling with what to do next year for my final plan if my final plan didn't work out. Didn't think I would ever face being indecisive. Well, what you can do is you can flip a coin. You can put the two answers and flip a coin. And then, if the answer you get disappoints you, you know what you really wanted. That can be incredibly revealing. If you look at the answer and go, yay! And then you know that was the one you really wanted, right? But failing that, you could write a pros and cons list, or you could add a third or fourth option in case nothing works out. So that no matter what, you don't have to be scared of what you do next, you're just prepared. Try your favorite option, have a backup, and a third backup for if that doesn't work. And it's like, I've got time, and my life can have chapters. I can have a chapter where I try to be a professional mime, and if that doesn't work out for me and I can't make the bills, then I can do this thing. And if not, then this thing. Like, just go live. Go do things. You may find that the thing that you plan to do turns out to be shit. I planned to be an animator. Did I become an animator? No, did a whole degree. So like I had plenty of time to discover what I don't want to do as part of discovering what I do. No matter what you choose, it could still fall through. You'll be fine either way. If you trust yourself, decisions get less scary because even if it goes wrong, you know that you can still make a good life out of it. Because you can't get everything right. You can't pressure yourself to make the right decision every single time. You can only trust yourself to know how to handle things, no matter how it goes. Because you could make the right decision and it get taken away for reasons that are beyond your control. You could make the wrong decision and it go really, really well unexpectedly. I think drinking lots and playing computer games to avoid feeling sad about how things were going in my life was definitely the wrong way to handle the way that things were going in my life. But I ended up a streamer because of it. Which was the best thing that ever happened. So yeah, I put less pressure on yourself to make the right decision. Just make the decision that feels best in the moment and land on your feet either way. Either it goes well or you learn. So you benefit from everything you do. Trust me, there is no such thing as failure. It's not real. Bacano says, going through my first Comic-Con in June, tickets are booked, but I'm already feeling nervous and anxiety is already playing up. How do you deal with doing stuff and meeting new people, please? You acknowledge that it's meant to be a little bit awkward and a little bit scary sometimes. Not scary in the, oh yeah, this guy said he was going to stab me, but I'm still going to hang out with him scary. Obviously, don't hang out with the guy who offers to stab you. However, in all the other situations, yes, you're supposed to feel social anxiety. Like, social anxiety can be crippling and it can really hold you back, but it's not supposed to. We're all supposed to feel a certain level of social anxiety because our bodies put pressure on us to remind us that humans are a mode of survival. You live 10 years longer if you have a social life, for example. And when you were in medieval times or in prehistoric times, you would live like 50% longer if you had a community, or 90% longer if you had a community and people who cared about you. So your body's like, you gotta get this right. We don't want to die. We don't want to get ostracized. We don't want to be put at the bottom of the pecking order. We will die. Make friends. Say the right thing. Oh my God. And that's what it's used for. So we're kind of meant to feel that pressure. It's by design. And what you don't realize is it's not a failing of yours or an obstacle of yours. We're all feeling that sometimes to varying degrees. It takes a very long time to be relaxed around strangers. That is an obscure skill most people never get. Most people who have friends and family and have gone to crowded rooms full of birthday parties of people they know would still get really nervous on stage in front of a bunch of strangers. Okay? So it's not a problem with you that you need to fix. It's just something that you're not used to yet. And so I expect when I hang out with a bunch of people I don't know to feel a little bit nervous here and there. I don't even think about it. I'm like, yeah, of course I will at some point. Maybe I'll say something stupid. Maybe I'll make a fool of myself once or twice. That's normal. That's what humans do. I'm sure other people will feel nervous too. They'll feel nervous. They'll say stupid shit. They'll get tongue-tied. Like, absolutely. Like, they're going to feel it too. We're still going to go and have fun. I feel like that's just one of the prices of going and having fun and making friends, is that sometimes it's going to be a little nerve-wracking. Like, if you love climbing, Most of the time, the climbing is going to be fun. Sometimes it's going to be a little nerve-wracking. Sometimes you're going to slip. Sometimes you're going to hurt yourself. But overall, the experience is worth it. That's humans in a nutshell. You're going to experience a whole range of emotions with people. They're going to be disappointing. They're going to be scary. They're going to be cool. They're going to be fun. You're going to learn shit from them. Maybe you're going to have sex with a few of them in your lifetime. Like, some of them are going to be amazing, and you're never going to stop thinking about them. You're going to remember them for the rest of your life. And others are going to be utter trash that you can't wait to forget. And fear is just one of the entertaining aspects of the range of experience of socializing. You're normal. It's okay. You just have to be a little bit strong and brave. And yeah, a little bit of anxiety is the price of a cool experience, I'm afraid. Doesn't go away. You basically just get better at handling it. It gets smaller, but it never disappears. One of the ways I cope with it is I just treat everyone like I'm friends with them already. I treat everyone like I've been friends with them for 40 years. I'm like, all right, mate, you need a seat? How you doing? I love your necklace. You know, this sort of stuff. I'm in my head, I'm just like, I'm friends with everyone already. They can lose my friendship, but they don't need to gain it. And I feel like that immediately generates chemistry with people and makes people feel relaxed and very open and trusting and just, yeah. Because I'm like, I'm friendly. I'm friendly. I'll help you. What do you need? You should open a bar. I can recommend if you want to speed run being socially great. If you want to be like, I'm having trouble dealing with people. I don't know how to make friends or hold conversation. I don't know how to deal with anything. Help. How do I learn how to be a person and do people things? I would work at a bar. Take a year out to work at a bar. Everyone I know who's ever worked at a bar for at least a year has come out with amazing social skills. They can hold a conversation, they're interesting, they're light, they're funny, they're good at standing up to people when, people are annoying, aggressive, they're very calm and cool-headed when dealing with people who are a bit too drunk or a bit too rowdy. Like, you just get all of the skills you need as an adult from working in a bar for a year or two. Trust. Battle Panties has a bigger one. Says, my Tourette's less bad these days as I had treatment for it, mainly due to a different problem related to chronic pain. The problem is now I've been reintegrating back into IRL a day program and increase how many days, but I'm facing a new problem where old me with worse Tourette's, it was more obvious, so I had to explain it. Now that tics are less severe, it's harder to explain in a way that's less obvious. So I find myself suppressing when I do have them. Unsure what to do as I don't have to explain it every time I go and bring attention to it, which can worsen it, to be able to just get rid of misconceptions, but also don't want to keep suppressing. I just want to come back out of my shell more, but I don't know how to go about it. Thoughts? I have days where I have fewer tics and I still warn people. If I'm going to be in a room with a bunch of strangers, I still warn people. Just like, I have Tourette's. If I shout at you, I don't mean it. I'm having a quiet day, so I probably won't shout at you, but now you know why if I do. And people are like, okay. And then if I don't have any tics, they're like, you didn't have any tics. I expected this to be worse. And I was like, so did I, but I guess I'm having a good day. And so that removes all the awkwardness if something does happen and I don't have to think about it, monitor it, or think about how anyone feels about it. Okay? The other way that I manage it is if I'm having a quiet day and I know I don't have to explain myself, but then something pops up, I just look to see if they noticed. And if they noticed, I'll be like, I have Tourette's. So, like, if they're side-eyeing me because I did something weird, but it isn't like me shouting or offering them a fisting, like maybe I just waved my arm for no reason and they move on and be like, oh, it's Tourette's, and just look away. Like, I don't make a big deal out of it because it's not a big deal. No one's going to be angry at you for having Tourette's. And if they misunderstand it, that's on them. And they are just making a fool of themselves. It gets worse and worse for them. That is not worse and worse for you. It is not embarrassing to have a tic just because somebody else doesn't understand it. You need to keep telling yourself that. I'm not embarrassing myself. If someone goes, well, that's not Tourette's, or like, that's what I expect Tourette's to look like, if you're having a misunderstanding day, that is their embarrassment, not yours. And it's fine and totally unembarrassing to just clear it up. It's way less awkward. I went through a phase in my life where I had to keep clarifying my Tourette's to people. No, it wasn't even that. It was that I didn't know I had Tourette's and I was at university and I kept ticking at people, but I didn't know what a tic was and I didn't know why I was saying these things to people, so I'd have to pass it off. So, like, I'd go, I hope you die. And people were like, what the fuck? And I'd be like, oh, I don't. I'm just being ironic, because I'm an awkward teenager and I'm just taking the piss. So, like, that's just my fun way of saying goodbye. Hope you die. And they'd be like, oh, haha, I don't get it, but hope you die. And then they'd pass me in the hallway, and like I'd be talking to a teacher or whatever, and people are like, I hope you die. As they pass by, and I'd be like, hope you die too. And the teacher would look at this interaction and be like, what the did you do? Why do so many people hate you? And it would be more awkward and dramatic than if I just went, I don't know why I said that, and I don't mean it. I think I would have probably got diagnosed. Someone would have probably went, do you think you have Tourette's? So much sooner if I stopped trying to pass off awkward fucking moments. You know? Hiding it was so much worse. Being awkward about it was so much worse than just saying to people, oh, I have Tourette's. Just really casually, oh, I have Tourette's. And like, most cases of Tourette's are subtle. So some people sniff or twitch a lot. And then they explain themselves and go, oh, I have Tourette's. And most people go, oh, I didn't even realize you had Tourette's. I didn't even realize that was a tic. And you go, yeah, this is what most tics look like. It's not like in the movies where it's shouting and swearing all the time. That's really rare. Most of us have subtle tics like this. And be like, oh, okay. And that's it. That's all it takes. It's so unawkward. And I understand the fear of having to bring it up and how weird it feels. But if you can get used to it, then you never have to worry about it. Because suppressing is only going to do you damage. Physical damage. But like I just turned every time I have to explain myself into a fun interaction so I don't have to fear it or put it off. If I enjoy telling people and they enjoyed it being told, then it's just plus social points instead of some awkward thing I have to get out of the way. So if I crack a joke about it to tell people, they laugh, they like me more, and I don't have to suppress anything. So if you have to do something all the time, make it fun and make it benefit you. Shut up! What would your advice be to someone who's streaming? Statistically, you're not going to make it. And I want you to know that before you start so you still enjoy doing it. If you expect to become a big deal and for everyone to care about you and want to support you, you're probably going to hate streaming because even the biggest streamers quite often had to grind for years to ever get noticed. So some people would spend 2 years streaming to 0 viewers before anything ever really picked up. So you have to do something you fucking love doing. And that if nobody ever watches you and nobody ever makes you famous or whatever, if you never get anywhere with it, you still enjoy doing it, then you can't waste your time. The biggest threat is that you'll waste your time doing something that amounted to nothing. So if, for example, you wanted to live stream yourself gaming, pick games that you would have played alone without the camera anyway, and you'll enjoy whether people watch or not. If you're going to stream yourself cooking, just cook stuff you enjoy and look forward to eating, so that at the end of the day, you get a meal either way. The only bonus is the potential for people to watch. Watching should be the bonus, not the aim. Focus on doing what you love first. And then over time, if you see a few people take interest and disappear, you learn to adapt to what holds interest. Find the things you love doing that hold interest and just keep expanding on that. Let the feedback teach you. Because viewership is feedback. Just that little number is feedback. And maybe it'll grow into something cool, but if it doesn't, you'll be fine. And the reason why I say statistically you won't actually get anywhere is because less than 1% of people on Twitch make more than £1,000 per year. Per year. Less than 1% make more than £1,000 per year. Being a streamer that can live off streaming is so infinitesimally rare, it's basically luck. A lot of the people that actually manage to make a living off of it got lucky with exposure. Like that luck counts for so much more than skill. There are plenty of unskilled famous streamers right now. Okay, so you could have the most polished, amazing stream with the best camera and the best graphics and the best quality, and you could pay for the most costly games and shit like this, and still not get anywhere because that's not what people watch for. So, yeah, do what you love because there's no way to force other people's interest. What if your tics went away forever? I'd learn how to drive. And I'd need a lot less support to do a lot of basic things, so I think my life would be just a lot simpler. I think I could focus on a lot of cool things if I didn't have the Tourette's. Because the Tourette's was also a learning difficulty. It inhibits my ability to learn. It inhibits my ability to function, regulate emotions and all sorts. Like, people only know about the swearing tics. They don't know about all of the problems with your brain, the ADHD that tends to come with it and things like this. So, yeah, there's a lot of things that would suddenly become so much simpler. Maybe I'd go and be a scientist. Uncle Crappy, thank you so much. But hopefully that was helpful. Bitch! Could hypnotism weaken tics? No, I get asked that a lot. The answer is no. That's kind of like saying, could hypnotism fix a broken leg? Like, people don't seem to understand it's not a mental condition. It's a it's a neurological condition. So my brain and my nervous system, two physical structures, don't communicate properly. No level of hypnotism is ever going to fix that. Also, hypnotism is not recognized medically because it is not proven to work. And the reason why it's not proven to work is because, yeah, like, you don't get consistent results and you don't get people cured from hypnotism. Like, hypnotism could apply to something maybe like phobias or whatever, because it's all suggestion, but it won't fix physical conditions. You're not going to go to a hypnotist for a heart condition. You're not going to go to the hypnotist for a brain condition. Bitch! Is there a way to have a conversation with your own Tourette's? No, because it's not like a personality that can hold a conversation. It's not like a separate entity that I can make contact with and it has its own thoughts and feelings that it wants to convey. That's just not how Tourette's works. The way I'd say it is like, you don't need to ask that question if you think like your Tourette's is an alternate personality, but it's not. It's word salad. So basically your brain is doing this, you know, like when you have salad tongs and you're tossing a salad, all the words you've ever known, all the gestures you've ever known, bitch, are just in your brain, in there next to the word sheep and cow and like fuck and wizard. All these words, heart, slow, things, you know, just all the words you know, tossed up in your head, shaking around, and every now and again, you just toss up one thing and it flies out of the bowl. You know, and some things just get tossed out more often, like the olives. You might toss out 6 olives and a piece of lettuce, and that's like 6 times I tell you to go fuck yourself, and 1 time I offer you a fisting. Like, it's not a conversational alternate personality. It's just little snippets of sounds I know. Edemus, thank you so much. Does it feel like a sneeze? No, because sneezes don't hurt. So if I feel a buildup of pressure that really fucking hurts if I don't tick. So the discomfort's unbearable, severe pain all day. You'd be in pain all day, every day, and eventually you'd crack. Like, there's no way to hold it in without damaging yourself. I feel like you can hold a sneeze just about without it hurting. And sneezes do feel good. That's true. I don't feel like ticks feel good. They don't feel bad to actually do the tick. More like a release so you don't feel discomfort anymore. But, like, they don't feel good either. They don't feel good or bad. They just feel like a release. It's like someone holding a red hot poker to your heart and you have a safe word. So if you shout pineapple, they'll take the little hot poker off your chest. And like, they're just prodding with it you all day and you're like, ah, pineapple, 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 fuck. That's more what it's like. But is it always slurs? So it's not completely random, is it? It's not always slurs. People just remember the slurs more. So like the tick that I've had for the longest in my life is just the word cats. I used to shout the word cats all the fucking time for like 20 odd years. Just cats! Really loud, like just like that. That's not a swear word. Most tics aren't swear words. Most people who have tits don't even tits. Most people who have tics don't have the swearing kind anyway. And the few that do have the swearing kind rarely ever just tick swear words. I think right now, my most common tick is I love you. But people don't remember that. Because people remember things emotionally. The most emotionally evocative thing is what you remember about Tourette's. So you won't remember how many times I said that I said I love you, or I just went, that's a tick. But you will remember when I offered to fist your dad. No one forgets that I offered to fist their dad. I love you. Well, let's not do that. Oh, well, you weren't invited anyway. If I did fist your dad, you would not be there. That would just be awkward, you know. It was kind of presumed that it wouldn't be a let's activity. Just me and your dad. Uh-uh. But I think a lot of people naturally just expect it to be an alternate personality, and that's why I get questions like, oh, can you whistle that good on purpose? It's like, yes. Do you ever tick words that you don't know, like other languages? No. No, I do not. I think people ask these leading questions because they're hoping that Tourette's is just when you need a exorcism. They just think, oh, your demon makes you say those things. You want to be a nice little person, but the demon wants you to fuck people. No. I don't want to fuck people, but I offer to fuck people all the time. It's awkward. Frostybot, thanks. Oh, it's Frosty Robot. Thank you so much for the 10 gifties. Absolute legend. Ah! When I did GTA roleplay, my character had Tourette's, obviously, because I couldn't hide it. And I got an exorcism. It was quite an intense exorcism, too. With the tics, has there been any ones that happened that instantly made you laugh? Yeah, it'd be an utter psycho. The amount of to not laugh. There are so many situations that are just so obscure that all you can do is fucking laugh. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like when I shouted, I'm a pedo. Well, actually, I don't know. I was kind of embarrassed about the I'm a pedo situation. Maybe that's a bad example. I guess when I wank at people, it's quite awkward. I laugh at being in such a silly situation. I think it's easier to laugh than to just hold intense eye contact with someone whilst you're doing like a fat walk across the room. I think that's absolutely the case. Like, if you, like, I think the difference between going, like, being awkward about that and literally going, is that's huge. I feel like that's the difference between being arrested or not, you know? Recklaw, thank you so much for, oh my god, the 25 gifties. Thank you so fucking much, sweetheart. The stare does make it even more intense. Yeah, I mean, I do it when I'm crossing the street. If people let me cross the road, I quite often do it at the car, which is awkward when there's like a family in there and it's like, Mommy, what is she doing? And they're like, nothing, kid. Nothing? That's an emote? How the fuck is that an emote? How have we gotten away with that? LDY Max, I hope I said your name right, says, I know I'm a bit delusional, but how can I tell the difference between the girl at my local gas station being friendly with me because I'm a regular or because she's interested? We laugh and talk every time, so I grab my goodies, which makes me stay longer than anticipated. Is she treating you differently than other people? That's the first thing. Like, I guess if you don't, This is the reason, guys, why learning social skills is so important, because once you've learned social skills and you've hung out with a lot of people platonically, you will know the difference between someone flirting and not. And I swear it would save you so much awkwardness in these situations. Because what happens is you're friendly with people platonically because you work at the store, and then some random guy thinks she wants me and starts loitering more, and you be polite with him because he's there for ages, and it would be really weird if you went from friendly to just deadpan. So you stay friendly, and he leaves, and he does that more and more often. And you're like, oh no. Hopefully he knows that I just have to be polite to everyone. And then he tries to ask you out, and now it's awkward, and he doesn't come to the shop anymore. And this would happen to me a lot. Like, there was a guy who delivered, I'm not saying this is specifically for you. Maybe she does like you, but I need you to hear this, okay? So, like, I used to have my bunny food delivered. I had, like, 15 rabbits, and I used to get, they used to eat about a kilo each of food a week, I think, or something like that. I don't even know. I can't remember the math. But, like, I was getting 15 kilos of bunny food each week, or every other week or something, and so it was a lot to carry home, and it didn't drive. So the pet store owner started talking to me, and I'd hop in and we'd have a little chat, and it was friendly, and I never really thought about it once I walked out the store. I just like to smile at people. I just like to talk to people, crack a few jokes, and that's a brief fun interaction. I don't want any dick about it. I just like being friendly. And so he starts delivering the food to my address. He's like, where do you live? I'll bring it to you. And he started delivering the food, and I was like, thank you so much for this. And then he started like talking to me for a bit in the door, and he'd like ask about how my day was doing, and I'd ask about his, and I'd be like, well, bye, have a good day. And at the time I had a boyfriend. I never even thought to bring him up. It just never came up in that conversation. And he would start bringing free gifts. He started bringing free rabbit treats and rabbit toys and as a little add-on. And then one day he said, oh, so do you have a boyfriend? And I was like, yeah, I do. And he's like, oh, right. You've been together long? I'm like, yeah, he is. He's like, all right. And it just seemed like a really normal conversation. He seemed fine. But from then that point on, his dad had to deliver. He wasn't available for a couple of deliveries, which was really harsh and caused a lot of problems for me. And then finally, his dad started delivering it for him. And his dad came in, and the first thing he said to me was, you broke my son's heart. And I laughed at him thinking, no, I didn't. What the fuck you on about? You must be joking. And he was like, no, you broke his heart. I had to send him to bed with a hot cocoa. He was devastated. He was crying in bed for ages. He's still not gotten over it. What did you do? And I was like, what the fuck? Like, that is actually insane. This man was older than me. I was like 20, maybe 20, 19, 20, 21, somewhere in that age bracket. I swear this guy was like 37 that was delivering to me. So, like, what the actual fuck? And so eventually I had to get a new bunny food supplier, because that guy that I never said I was single, never flirted with him a day in my life, but because that guy got all that wrapped up in his head, could not pick up on the difference between flirting and just making conversation, I ended up in a situation where I had to, and this happens, it just happens over and over, where like friendly interactions with men turn horrible and I lose out on things, because the minute they're like, wait, can we smash? I'm like, no. And they're like, that's fine. I'm totally fine. And they're not fine. And they ruin everything. That was his fault, not yours. That's weird. It is weird. Okay? And this happens because men don't make a lot of friends, and they don't witness the difference between a horny female who is totally into you and a female who is just being polite because you're at their workplace, and it would be weird not to be friendly. Okay? So you have to differentiate the two kinds of interactions. And you're like, okay, but how? When you make friends and you watch them fall in love, you can tell. When you have female friends and you see them interact with someone they have a crush on, you can see the difference between how they interact with you and how they interact with their crush, right? So it becomes obvious if you make platonic friends. You would not be in this situation if you had women that you hung out with regularly that you did not want to fuck. Then you would never be wondering. So yeah, it really does help. It really helps to have friends. So that's something you can do in the long term. In the short term, you can totally hit on her if you're willing to make it awkward to go to the gas station if she says no. Like, if it were me and I was hitting on a girl at the gas station, I'd look for signs she's gay, and I would show signs that I'm gay. That would be the first thing I did. Well, not gay, part-time lesbian here. But, like, I would bring some rainbow shit. I would wear, like, a rainbow badge or something when I went in there and not even bring it up or point it out, just to show, just so that she knows that, she doesn't have to guess about that part. And then the next time I go in, I would hint at things that I like to do and places I like to be. Because sometimes that takes the decision completely out of your hands. If you say, I love going roller skating on Fridays, I'm always there on a Friday. Love that place. I like going at 6 p.m. because there's always barely anybody on a Friday at 6 p.m. I don't know why. That shouldn't make sense. But I always get the place mostly to myself, and I really enjoy it there. Then, when you go and do your average thing, maybe. What a coincidence! You'll bump into them. You give them a chance to be assertive. You give them a chance to come find you, because they might go there with their friends, and you can be like, oh, fancy seeing you here, hey. And you wave at them gently. But you don't necessarily insert yourself or hang out too much with them. You let them come to you if they want to. You go over to them briefly if they've come to you first. Like, you might spend a couple of minutes talking here and there, and now you have a rapport. It was great to see you last Friday. How are you doing? Do you like roller skating? Or are you just trying it the once? And if they go, just trying it the once, that's a clue. Don't go, you were coming to see me? I knew it. Bitch, we're going on a date. You go, oh, really? Well, sad that didn't work out. If you ever want to go and do something really fun, though, there's this. If you've never tried it, would you like to go with me? Like, then because you've started setting it up so you bump into each other more. You've brought it platonically outside of the gas station, briefly. Now this isn't just somebody that you see at the gas station and hope that they'll let you in their holes. Now this is someone that you see around. And you interact with each other. And those interactions are fun and positive, even when they don't have to be. Like, the problem with hitting on someone who's working is they have to be nice to you. And men capitalize on that a lot, and that means you can be inadvertently creepy, because the waitress has to be nice to you because they're working, and if they're like, fuck off, pig, hands off, they'd get fired. So they have to be very gentle with you, even if they want to punch you in the face. Right? So it's very hard to know if the attention is unwanted when they're working. But the thing with women specifically is that if you pounce on them where they are outside of their daily life and work, you're being creepy and dangerous. But if a woman comes and finds you, then that is a sign they can hold up. You're giving them an opportunity to reciprocate lightly. Okay? So, like, if they know things about you and you can bring them up super casually, then there's a chance you might bump into them. And if they bump into you, that doesn't necessarily mean they're down to fuck. Could be a coincidence. They could want friendship. But at least it's more normal now that they've been friendly with you somewhere unprofessional, where they're not professionally obligated to be nice. I hope that's helpful. Also, most women know that men are useless at spotting flirting compared to being friends. It's not just that a lot of men think that women are flirting when they're not. It's also that a lot of men don't know when women are flirting and completely miss it. Like, it's weird and paradoxical that when you really don't want a man, he thinks you want him. Like, there are women who can wear, like, a name tag at like, work and go, bye, to someone, and they'll go, she said goodbye to me. She likes me, and they'll wait for her in the car park. And they'll Google her name, and they'll look her up on Instagram, and they'll stalk her online and ask her on a date and stuff, right? And they'll go, she wants me, she wants me. But then you will literally be so flirtatious with a guy and be like, hey, sweetie, where are you headed? You gonna leave me behind? What am I gonna do without you? Those are some nice shoes. You wear them well. Like, that you could be like really flirty and like really nice to them. And they'll be like, they'll wake up 7 years from now and be like, fuck, was she into me? Was that girl from high school into me? Oh my god. She was into me. I liked her. And I completely ignored that. So, like, it works both ways. It works both ways. Usually dudes are terrible at picking up signals. Whether you like them or hate them, they're terrible at it. Right? This is the symptom of having no platonic female friends. If you don't have platonic female friends, you don't know what any of this looks like or what it means. But when you watch your friends doing it with other men, you understand. Also, a lot of men get scared if you hit on them or think you're easy. That's so stupid. Because it's meant to be easy when someone likes you. Did you want it to be fucking difficult, you weirdo? Did you want to chase me down the street while I scream, No, no. You having Tourette's you would blurt it out from the start? Not necessarily. Most tics are not just inner thoughts. I think that's a misconception. We can keep secrets, and not everything we shout is something we want to do. I don't want to fist anyone. It's not my thing. I'm fine with people fisting each other. You do you, and whoever wants to be fisted by you. But like, I don't want to fist anyone. I offer everyone and their dad a fisting all the fucking time. It's not your inner thoughts. I'm not thinking about cats most of the time that I shout cats. I am not thinking about cock about 20% of the time I shout cock. So like, it is not a representation of your inner thoughts, but it can be oddly situational. That's what confuses people. Sometimes things about the situation will influence the tic, but that could mean that it influences you to say something that you really don't mean because it would be terrifying to do so. And so you're forced to do something that you really don't want to do. And that's why you shout something racist or whatever. Or it can make you, when you're distracted, just like sometimes the things that you're thinking about can leak into your tic, but it can still be nonsense. In the same way that like things can leak into your dream and still be nonsense. You could wake up from a dream where you were at school and you were late for a test. And that's like because you did go to school at some point in your life. And you used to get test anxiety. And now you're 35 and you haven't been to school in years. And you're waking up like, fuck, I missed the test. I'm late for school. It doesn't make any sense. It's not relevant. It's not decipherable as something that you should like apply to the situation now, but it's been influenced. Dreams can be influenced by your wild silken tics, but not consistently. They're not your inner urges, inner thoughts. 99% of the time, it has nothing to do with that. I have a friend who ticked his mum's name in bed while he was having sex with his girlfriend. Was he thinking about his mum? No. So, like, one of the ways, not all Tourette's is the same, but if you had coprolalia and you fancied someone, you might be horrible to them. You might be really nice to them. You might say nice ass, but not because you were looking at their ass, but because it would be so awkward to say that to someone when you don't want them to know you like them. You might not have ever seen their ass. Like, it's so mixed, you can't really use it as a way to decipher anything. But it's interesting that Tourette's can form proper sentences. Yeah, I often find that they're chains. So, like, I feel like congratulations and you vegan bitch are two separate tics. Like, I've said you vegan bitch without saying congratulations. I've said congratulations without saying you vegan bitch, but they quite often chain. Like, if I say congratulations just normally, sometimes it'll tick. I'll just respond and tick, you vegan bitch. And so a lot of people think that I'm having a really long tic when it's actually 6 tics that have triggered each other. So now I'm in a chain, and it's a long one. And we're going to have to wait a little bit before I can tell you what I really want to have to say. I order vegan food all the time, but I'm not vegan. Thank you. You absolute legend. I love when people do that. I love when meat eaters order vegan food for 2 reasons. One of them is that it's like just a very good thing to do for the planet and the world. Good on you. But secondly, it means that you keep businesses alive that I need. Like, I need this niche vegan place to stay in business, so please order the vegan thing. I need this big restaurant chain to keep the vegan thing on the menu, so please, all the rest of you order it too. Like, I need you to signal to this big company that they should make chocolate bars for me, so by all means, everyone help themselves. You know? I order vegan food all the time, but I'm not vegan, I'm lactose intolerant. That's awesome. I like that vegan food can be just like a guaranteed safety food for people with intolerances. Because there are people who get allergic to meat. There's a kind of tick that bites you. Bitch, on the cook, on the cook. There's a kind of tick, there's a kind of bitch, there's a kind of tick, there's a kind of tick that will bite you, and you'll become allergic to meat. And weirdly, there's an unusually high incidence of them in America. There's certain regions where people think that someone is secretly releasing like tick plagues to get people to be allergic to meat. But yeah, people can end up with a meat allergy because of it. And vegan food is a way for those people to still lead a normal life and eat at restaurants and stuff. What's the longest tic you've had? I don't know. I'm not really paying that level of close attention to it in the same way that if I ask people what's the longest fart you've had, most people wouldn't know and don't really specifically remember. They weren't like sat there with a stopwatch timing every fart. Like, because it's like a basic bodily function of mine, it's not something that I'm monitoring. I'm not able to answer these kinds of questions about it. When I first arrived on the scene and got like really well known for my Tourette syndrome, there was a spreadsheet that people were entering into, and they were literally counting how many times during my streams that I said specific tics and keeping account of them and telling me how many times that I'd said the words, "Can I fuck your biscuit?" for example, you know? The only problem I have with the vegan fad, not vegans themselves, is it's overtaking gluten-free fad for a lot of places, and I need gluten-free. I found that for me, there's usually a gluten-free and a vegan menu. I've never seen anyone replace anything gluten-free with a vegan thing. I've never seen that in my life. But I will say it's not a fad, because a fad is a temporary thing that's briefly gotten popular, whereas there have been vegans since Neanderthals, and there were vegans 2,000 years ago. There were vegans mentioned in the Bible. There are vegans who went vegan to do well as gladiators 2,000 years ago. There were Roman gladiators who chose to be vegan as a performance enhancing diet. Like, there's documentation of vegetarianism and veganism for as long as there has been documentation, so it's not a fad. Absolutely not a fad. It's just gone by many different names is all. Uh-uh. The Garden of Eden was vegan before the Bible, full in the Bible. Yeah, but I think there was also like a group of people that only ate legumes and pulses, and had bright and shining skin because they were only eating of the plants. I can't remember who, but my grandma was telling me about it. Because like she's like a very religious lady, and she was telling me, "Yeah, I'm proud of you for making the choice. I don't think it's a bad thing that you've done." Because I didn't have a lot of support from anyone in my life about making the change when I was young. I went vegetarian very, very young, by choice. Like, so I was raised vegetarian, but I actually chose to be vegetarian because half of my family wanted to give me meat and were like, don't worry, I won't tell your mom." And I was like, "No, I want to be vegetarian. This isn't something I'm being forced to do." So, how do you deal with that peer pressure? Um, I I was ostracized by everyone around me and hated all of the time because of my Tourette's, which went undiagnosed for years. Okay? People were pissed off with me either way, so I had the freedom to do whatever I want because there was never a mold I could fit where people would accept me. So I established my diet at a time where I knew that there wasn't really any consequences socially for me eating meat because people were gonna, well, not eating meat, because people were gonna hate me either way. So I got used to people questioning my choices, being annoyed with me all the time, regardless. Might as well eat what I want. So I went vegetarian. And it did piss my family off. And they were annoyed with me. And I didn't give a shit. And the people who continued to pressure me when I was an adult and I could escape them, I just stopped hanging out with them because that's just disrespectful. People who are so comfortable making you uncomfortable don't like you. It's a really good like lifter, like it lifts the mask on a bunch of people because people will only get irritated with you for something that doesn't impact them when they hate you already. If they're calling out your sandwich because it's a slightly different sandwich, they don't like you. Go and have Christmas dinner with people who like you, because if I'm willing to have Christmas dinner with people who eat meat and still like them, I expect the same in return. I don't expect to be challenged or dragged into a debate about it. If you do any of that stuff, you just hate me and you're very comfortable making me uncomfortable, which is not something that people that respect you or like you do. So it just reveals who you should and shouldn't be eating with. And without that filter, if you were just eating meat with them, you would never know that they secretly hate you. But people who like you will not be bothered by what flavor your sandwich is. They will not be bothered by what is in your cake. So it's not peer pressure. It's you benefiting from a level of clarity most people don't get. It's like a litmus test. Do you think your Tourette's would have been diagnosed sooner in America? No, because I've met people from America who have spent a long time not getting diagnosed as well. Um, so I think there's actually more Tourette's awareness in the UK. I'm 36, so in my childhood there wasn't as much global Tourette's awareness as there is now, and it was even worse back then. And I feel like it was still better than in the US. I feel like we had more documentaries about it and things for a longer amount of time than in the States. I think if anywhere, I can't think of anywhere in the world I'd be more likely to be diagnosed than here. I was just neglected. My mom was bedridden a lot of the time. I didn't get a lot of care as a child. My dad was not in the picture. Okay. So like, I think I would have been diagnosed sooner if I had normal parents. If I had a normal social parental dynamic, I would have been diagnosed sooner. Absolutely. I also didn't get to go to school for very long. I think I would have been diagnosed a lot earlier if I just had a conventional upbringing. Yeah, you had to be taken out of school. Yeah, but also because I was moved around a lot when I was really, really young. I had a bit of time where I was home educated, not because I had to leave school, but just because my situation didn't allow for school. So the earliest part of my childhood where I would have most likely been diagnosed, most likely because of school, I missed out on school. And then I started going to school at an age where I was less likely to get diagnosed. You're most likely to get diagnosed when you're young. So, like, that was all a bunch of very unfortunate things that lined up where I was just less likely to get diagnosed. Even in the place where I'd be most likely to get diagnosed in the world. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate the super chat. What was that? Oh, that was the question. I'm glad I saw it. Someone put the bird is blue. It's my birthday on Friday, and I'm kind of scared for it since I feel I've not accomplished anything, and I'm seeing everyone around me at the same age achieving so much, and I feel stuck. There is no set pace for life. So I'll give you some examples. There was a guy who was 53. He was an actor the whole time. He never got famous, never had any important roles till he was 53 and he became a world famous actor. I forgot his name, but you can probably look it up. There was a guy who became a CEO of a company and became a millionaire after spending most of his life poor in his 40s. There was someone, I personally know multiple people who met the love of their life in their 50s or older. My granddad is in his 80s, maybe early 90s. Like, he's somewhere in his 80s, I think. And he met the love of his life like a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, something like that. So the milestones, they don't come at any specific pace. They come at your pace when you're ready, when it's right for you. Okay? I didn't really have my first job until I was in my mid-20s, and I had to make that job myself because no one would employ me. So I spent a lot of time in my early adulthood seeing everybody else get jobs, get partners, get, start renting, all these things, move out of home so much earlier than me. And I was like, fuck, I'm being left behind. I'm not capable of doing anything. How do I get my life together? And I genuinely thought because I was caring for my mom and I couldn't finish my degree. Well, I finished my degree. I couldn't finish my higher degree. And I couldn't get a job or anything like this. I was living off benefits. So I was living off government assistance, and I was getting a carer's allowance to look after my mother, and I hadn't moved out when I was in my 20s, hadn't moved out. I couldn't get jobs because of my Tourette's, and it was undiagnosed. And I was just like, my life is so fucked. I'm just going to take care of my mom until she dies and then have no work experience. I'm not going to be a carer, so I won't get a carer's allowance anymore. And I'll just come out the end of this with no life skills, no social skills, having not done anything with my life except stay at home and do lists for my mom. What the fuck am I going to do? I'm going to be like 58 or something, maybe 60 or 70, and I'm just going to be like out on my own for the first time, and I'm not going to be able to do anything. I'm so fucked. I felt so trapped. And I made a job for myself. I started a business. It went really well, and then I started doing this, and it went really well. And I am now like really far ahead in life. I'm in a really amazing place. I don't feel up behind at all. I feel like I catapulted. I speed runned adulthood, and now I'm suddenly exactly where I want to be as an adult, where I'd always hoped I'd be, and I did it in a few years instead of like over a lifetime like most of my friends. And what that means is I essentially stayed at home and played computer games until my last life started, and then my life just went really well all of a sudden. So I look back at it and I was like, I was really stressed and depressed and scared that whole time, but it worked out really good. Like, actually, now that I think about it, that's pretty awesome. Call center? I made it 3 weeks at my first one and quit before I made the pay threshold. I mean, I don't know if you're suggesting call center for me. I feel like, may I remind you, tits, I do have Tourette syndrome. I think that might actually be the worst possible job you could give me. I don't know. I mean, that and surgeon, maybe? Fuck off. Sidemen Tinder was very funny. I really appreciate your role in it. Yeah, thank you. It was actually really fun. I had such a great time. Everyone there was really nice. They're all so lovely. Uh-uh. I bet Anita's good at getting the solicitors to go away. I mean, I'm just nice to people. I'm nice to people because I know they probably don't want to be there. I'm not gonna lie. I think that's the main thing is if I know someone's job is to call me when they don't want to call me, I'm nice about it. I'm like, I hope you have a good day. Whatever you're offering, I really don't have time, but thanks for calling. You have a good one. Or if I have some time, I'll just make a chat with them. I'll be like, hello, how are you doing? Oh, you're selling that, are you? Well, how does that work? Oh, have you got many people who are genuinely interested in that? I'd imagine that's a hard thing to sell. Yeah, do you have any rude people? Did you have to deal with anyone rude today? What's the rudest person you had to deal with? Oh my god, that's insane. Well, thank you for calling. I'm still not gonna buy the thing, but I appreciate that you made the time and I hope that the next person buys your shit. Have a good one, bitch. Like, I will be like that because, they're just a person I'll never speak to again. They're a person who, isn't really at fault. You know? They're just trying to pay their bills. Even like, is it Jehovah's Witnesses? Who are the people that come and try and get you to like buy some Jesus? Because like I've listened to people who used to be Jehovah's Witnesses, and apparently they like have to do that, and it's really uncomfortable, but they don't really have a choice. So it's like I'm not mean to them. Like I'm understanding. Ale, thank you so much for the prime. Bitch! Unless they splash me with holy water or something. When religious people get all like exorcism-y about me, I'm just like, okay, I've had enough. Back up. I know how to punch people real good. So we don't do that here. Unless you like punches. They call me Monk! Thank you so much for the sub! Like, when I was doing training, my martial arts trainer, he taught me how to do this special kick, and I was so excited when I got it right. He's like, yep, you could definitely knock someone out like that. That is perfect. That is, yep, you would knock someone out if you did that to someone's face. And I was like, yay! Someone's gonna be an example. Oh, Cubes said, hi, I come from the Sidemen video and have a question. Do you develop tics for a few hours and that's it? Because you kept telling Chris to fuck off, and I assume it's that tick went way after filming. No, it did not. So we filmed that like, I don't know whether it was a week or two ago. We filmed that a little while ago. And for a significant amount of time, I think even on stream, I'm pretty sure I shouted fuck off Chris a few times on stream as well, shortly after. Like, it did stick. I've been shouting fuck off Chris at people who aren't called Chris. So it's a good thing I don't need to take buses anywhere. Otherwise, there'd be a bunch of people who think, oh, I don't know who you think I am, but I have not bothered you. I do not know you. I am not Chris. How was he about it? You saw how he was about it. How you saw on the video is exactly how he was about it. Very understanding, very chill, and generally unaffected and a good sport. He's a good egg. Uh-uh. Do your tics get worse in high pressure situations? Yes and no. That there's a spectrum, okay? So there's a spectrum of caffeine, there's a spectrum of sleep, there's a spectrum of stress, okay? And you'd think, bitch, the most logical thing you'd assume, right, is that at this end, when it's really chill, I'd tick less. And when it's really intense, I'd tick more. And it's just a gradient of stress going from, oh, I won't tick much because I'm not very stressed, to I will tick very much because this is very stressful. But there's a certain level of stress where I tick a lot. And there's a certain tier of stress where I don't tick at all. And I'm very, very focused all of a sudden and everything is switched off and you have me. I'm completely fixated on you right now. Everything will go flat. The tics will be gone, my emotions are gone, everything. And all I am is this. Whatever is happening here, that's all I am. That's all of my thoughts, all of my everything. None. No tics. And then just after that, in the extreme incomprehensible situations of life where it's just there is an earthquake and all my bunnies are dying, I'd probably have loads of tics. But the bit before that is everything is gone. All of my emotions, all of my thoughts, all of my everything. And I feel that moment where everything shuts down and I am just the situation is me, right? Usually when I see someone else getting hurt. That is I lock in. I've seen it, everyone else will be talking and not noticing. I'm there. My brain is what is happening? What is he doing to that? What is he doing to that crab? That motherfucker's hurting that crab. I think I'm gonna have to sort that out. And I'm gone. You won't see me go, excuse me? I'll be right back. Nothing. I'm just stomping over. I have no tics, no feelings. I'm in. Right? Good, get him. But with caffeine, it's the same. There's a little bit of caffeine and it might I'll have a few tics. A lot of caffeine, lots of fucking tics. 6 cups of caffeine, my heart is racing, no tics. Don't know what's happening there. 7th cup, I'm dying, loads of tics. There's a little bit just before the most extreme example where there are none. Emotions as well on the spectrum. There's that happens with my emotions as well. There's something that will just flick up off everything. And caffeine does it, lack of sleep. There's a stage of lack of sleep where I've had barely any sleep where I just have loads of tics. And there's just beyond that, there's even less sleep where I'll have none. And then even less sleep than that, loads more tics. Day 2 of no sleeping, when it's 48 hours no sleep, there'll be 47th hour, no tics at all. 48th hour, loads of tics. 46th hour, loads of tics. Just that middle bit. I don't know what that's about. There's a certain dose that will calm it down of everything. That sounds exhausting. Yeah. So I guess the bar you'd think that high stress is just view the graph. It's high tics. This is the tick bar. This is the stress bar. You'd think it'd be whoop, but it's actually beep, 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 beep. And the thing with that as well is that when you get lots of factors stacking, you don't know which one is causing it anymore. Maybe I had 7 coffees and I haven't slept and I'm very highly emotional. God knows which one is making me tick less or more. There might be situations where I'm very calm and I'm very present and everything's fine, but for some reason I'm exploding all the time and I don't know why. So, yeah, it's not a reliable influencer, but sometimes you can be maybe this was the 2nd cup of coffee. And this means that you can't reliably induce it, which is good and bad, right? Because it means that nobody can just trigger my Tourette's for their amusement. No one could spike me with a bunch of caffeine. No one could give me caffeinated gum or something and be heh heh heh, she doesn't know it's got caffeine and she's gonna tick loads and I'm gonna laugh. Nobody could force it that way. But also it means that if people are I wanna see how your Tourette's interacts with a train ride, and then they come on a train ride and they film me and it's fuck, I'm having a low tick day. I don't know why. I had 2 cups of coffee. And technically this is a very stressful situation where I tick a lot and I'm fine. I feel like such a normal person. What the fuck's happening? So it's got its pros and its cons. DKK, oh my god, thank you so much for the 50. Wow. Demigod, thank you so much. I completely missed that. That was 3 minutes ago. Oh my god, did you feel ignored? Thank you. Said, I completely relate to you. I got diagnosed at 25 with atypical autism, but now I feel more like I could have ADHD. Oh, wow. Well, no matter what it is, I hope you get context. There's also or ADHD. There's like people who are both as well. So I hope you get answers soon because it can be so useful and so liberating to understand how to manage your day, how to make it work. I feel like that's what it does. It doesn't change what's wrong with you. It just gives you answers, just gives you tools. Do you ever feel like you should be ticking for people for entertainment in those settings? No, I'm just relieved that my nervous system isn't torturing me for a bit. I'm like, I know that there are some people who hope I tick a lot, and like it might be bad if I don't. For them, like if someone invites me to a show and they're like hoping that I have loads of ticks because it will really entertain the audience and I'm fine unexpectedly, and they're like, oh, right. I don't feel pressure to tick because I'm just like, if I fake ticks, if I have fake ticks, people aren't going to trust what is a tick and what isn't. And when you drop, if you drop like slurs and stuff, then people will fuck off, faggot. There you go. I was trying not to. That's the risk of bringing it up. If you think about fuck off, faggot, if you think about slurs and stuff, if you tick slurs a lot and people are like, is that a fake one for the camera or is that a real one? Then people will think you're homophobic, you know? Because why would you just like be mean to these people for entertainment on purpose, you asshole? So like obviously there's a lot of trust you need from people that, you know, you don't fake ticks. People like, oh, do you ever swear on purpose and then blame it on your Tourette's? No, because I need people to know when I'm pissed off with them. I want people to know if I'm pissed off enough to swear at you, you did something. You did, and you need to know I hate you now. Like I'm not a coward. If I don't like you, I want you to know. Because it would be hard to make me not like you. You have to hurt an animal or something. Okay? So, like, I don't want it to be ambiguous. So it's not just like, oh, I just really want to be authentic. It's like part of my survival. In order for me to not be like considered a racist and shit, you need to know I don't fake ticks. And so, like, it doesn't really benefit me enough to do. But I'm also not a coward who hides behind my condition. So if there was a demographic of people I didn't like, it would be for a reason and I want them to know. And for me, it's like child abusers, animal abusers, murderers, you know, just nasty ass people. And like, so like, why would I want to hide? Like, you get angry at people for a reason. So I'm not a wuss, but I'm also not like a racist or like a homophobe. So I kind of need, it doesn't benefit me. There's no place in my world where it would benefit me to fake my ticks. Because you don't want to be like shouting the F slur at your gay friend and then go, was that a real tick? So like, yeah, no. Not worth it. But, yeah, go ahead and run those donos. Bitch! You're suspicious. Oh, Sovereign, thank you.
Anita is the type to take both the red and blue pills just to roll the dice and see what happens. Going from oh I'm not good, they're not gonna pick me to they banned my main and focused me down first because they saw me as a threat. You don't get to say you're not a top tier player anymore.
Thank you. I did. My Jeff got banned. I wanted to use him to defend my team as well. I think it was a good call because I could have protected the backline a bit more. Also, someone, Rosen, thank you so much for the super chat. Loved seeing you in the Sidemen Tinder video. I laugh every time you said good boy and fuck off to Chris. Yeah, bit mixed messages. I'm the queen of mixed messages. I will call you a good boy and tell you to fuck off, and I will spank you and say hello sailor or hello beautiful and compliment you and then shit on you in the next minute. Like, it's a good thing that people don't take my sick tics seriously because it'd be very, very confusing for them. Hi, I Hi, what would you do if you had two friends who broke up after dating, but don't know what happened between them? I care deeply for them both, but I feel like I'm betraying both of them. Then why don't you just message both of them and preface it with, hey, I've sent you both this message. And it's like, I feel a little bit awkward after you broke up because I love both of you and I want the best for both of you. And I don't know what broke you up, but, as your friends, I don't want to take sides. I just want to be there for you both. And I don't know how to do that without feeling like I'm betraying the other. So I was just wondering, like, if there was anything you could suggest for me to do in this situation so that I can still, keep and cherish our friendship without hurting either of you. I think just being honest with them would be my first go-to. And if you really struggle to convey those feelings, ChatGPT or an AI would be really, really helpful for suggestions, but don't copy it word for word. It's great for like gists, but don't copy and paste. Don't explain yourself to a fucking chatbot and then copy and paste its response. But explain all your feelings and it might give you some like phrases or some like ways of ordering it, things to emphasize and not things to maybe not go too much into detail about. It can give you like a little bit of advice on how to frame it so that you can best convey it to them. You know? That's an amazing answer, thank you. Yeah, I feel like most people that are worth having in your life can handle you being open about what you feel. And as a friend of yours, I'd appreciate that message, and I'd be like, "Yeah, don't worry about it." I'd either be like, no, that dude, like, beat up my grandmother at at my cousin's birthday. Like, that's why we broke up. So, I don't know, I'd feel pretty betrayed if you still wanted to be in contact with someone like that. Like, you could get that answer, be like, "Oh yeah, then fuck that guy. He's dead to me." And then you could just message the other one and be like, I found out what you did to the grandma. I'm sorry. I take all of this back. Now that I understand the further details, have the life you deserve. Or it could be like your friends go, oh, don't worry. I wouldn't want you to lose any friends or treat anyone any differently. I appreciate you messaging me, but don't worry about it. If you want to hang out with me, I don't really want to hang out with you while you're hanging out with them. But like, if you ever want a cup of tea or something, I'm totally down to come to yours and have a hangout. And that way you can just be like, sometimes I'll hang out with, one, and sometimes I'll hang out with the other. And you can just play it by ear if they ever get to a point where they're willing to be in the same room again and still be friends. And by then, you can invite them both to your birthday party or whatever. Yeah, you can take it slow. Just say you're not going to take sides and you're going to stay out of that situation. Depends. Sometimes you should. Sometimes not taking a side is taking a side. Sometimes inaction is more powerful than actually deciding. So like I don't think that it applies to every single situation. I think there is certain situations where you absolutely should take a side. Abso-fucking-lutely. Just not all of them. You know? Like if someone was abusive, you should take sides. Also, if someone cheated, you should take sides. The cheater should absolutely be cut out of your friend group because you can't trust a cheater. If this person will, if this is how they treat someone who loves them and gives them head and like wants to build a future with them and like is nice to them and mates with them and stuff and buys them food, like does all these great things that you do not do with them, like all you've got to offer is friendship. Like, if this is how they treat the person who loves them the most, how the fuck are they going to treat you? Like, if someone's treacherous, cut them loose. If they backstab, cut them loose. Cheating is backstabbing. Don't keep backstabbing people in your life. It will always backfire. No one that treacherous was ever worth keeping. You'll always regret it. People who cheat are several times more likely to commit crimes and steal at work and do just general awful things. Because if they're that comfortable screwing people over, they won't just do it in one way. So take sides if they cheat. Like, absolutely do. I can't advise that enough. Also, someone that is that willing to explode their life for something small is just treacherous, even if they have no intentions to screw you over. Like somebody who's like, I like having a quick fuck. That's very important to me. Oh no, I've accidentally ruined my lifelong relationship with the love of my life. How could I possibly see that coming? Even if they were just stupid, they are hazardous levels of stupid. Like, if they could fuck up their life that badly when they didn't even want to because they just didn't think it through, you can't trust someone like that in your life because they will trip and fuck up everything. Someone who needs that explaining to them and still can't stick to it, treacherously stupid. They're either treacherously malicious or treacherously stupid, but always give cheaters the boot, even if they didn't cheat on you. What if they're able to work it out and forgive? So if they forgive cheating, still kick him. I think I would be repulsed and never keep two people in my life. If one cheated on the other and they stayed together, it wouldn't change my opinion. I'd be like, no, no, I'm not keeping a cheater in my life. Sorry. Because they're just treacherous. They're still treacherous and a danger to you, even if their partner forgives them. But the next thing is, like, when they have a fallout and they forgive each other, this is why it's good not to take sides unless it's something really important, like one of them's a murderer or a cheater or like some awful thing that is also like dangerous in general, not just dangerous to the partner, right? But like there are situations where they have a falling out and you are like, I don't want to pick sides. I value both of you. I'm sorry your relationship didn't work out, but I just want to be friends with both of you. And that's why I said, like, my initial response, my first response was like, just don't take sides, message them both, be like, I love you both, still want to be friends with you both, sorry that happened to you both. How can I best respect your situation right now and still stay in contact? Because right now I'm in an awkward position where it's like, do I invite both of you to the birthday party? What do I do? Right? And they can tell you how best to respect them and you can stay out of it. And that's the first option, unless it's extreme and you should get rid of one of them. Like, and the reason why is because, yeah, sometimes people work things out and then you're in an awkward position where they don't, you know, they don't hate each other and now you hate them. And that's much harder to reconcile. And mature people don't drag you into their relationship issues. They don't drag you into their friendship falling outs. So like when two friends fall out and they're mature, they fix it between each other. They don't ask everyone in the friend group to take sides. The only time that friend group should take sides is if someone got raped, someone got really, really fucking harmed, like one of them stole from the other, these sorts of things. But if it's a compatibility issue, you don't take sides. Is there dopamine involved in having tics when you tick? Is there a dopamine release? Are there any chemical releases involved? Yeah, we overproduce dopamine and serotonin. So, uh, so like dopamine doesn't just control happiness. People go, oh, so you're just really happy? No. It doesn't make you more happy or more sad. Dopamine is used for a lot of things. It's also used for movement. So people who are low on dopamine might not be able to move anymore, might need a wheelchair, for example. People who are really high on dopamine, I think dopamine's related in Parkinson's. I think they overproduce dopamine and they're constantly moving involuntarily. So like it impacts a lot of other things than just happiness. And so I don't think people with Tourette's, in fact, are more likely to be suicidal, more likely to self-harm, more likely to go through long periods of depression and addiction. So with all that said, it's not like it makes us happier people, but we do have higher dopamine than the average public. And I don't think a tic releases dopamine, but I think the doses of dopamine that we are on, like as a baseline, are elevated. If parents cheated, do I drop them too? That's entirely up to you. You know your situation better than me. But like one of the things that I never forgave my dad for and really made our relationship very, very rough was the fact that he did cheat on my mom. And it wasn't a story I walked in on him cheating on my mom. So I know he definitely did that and I did not forgive him for life. It was always something that I never forgave him for. So I do think that like it's up to you. I stand by my decision not to forgive my dad for that. Any suggestions for someone who was rejected for not having enough life experience, even though the rejector seems open to revisiting things in the future? While worried they might meet someone else. Okay, so anyone who is open to revisiting things in the future is not worth your time because they are keeping you reeled in and are scared of you moving on. Like, if someone doesn't give you an enthusiastic yes right now, move on. Because you are worthy of love, you are worthy of enthusiastic consent. Never settle for someone who isn't sure about you. Also, if you're compatible, life experience doesn't really matter because you can just gain life experience alongside your partner as you live. So that sounds like a cop-out, and it sounds like that person isn't really into you, and don't dangle on a thread hoping that you'll one day be worthy. Go find someone who likes you as you are now, because there are people out there who would totally fall in love with the version of you that you are, and aren't just hoping for a better version of you to develop later down the line. People who are like in love with your potential actually hate you. People who are in love with your potential hate you. Okay? If they are constantly around you and wishing you were some other imaginary version of you, some future version of you that might be cool and more compatible, they don't like who you are. They're just waiting for you to be someone else. And this is heartbreaking to know, because clearly you're into this person and you really wish that they'd picked you, but they haven't. They have not picked you. And you're not going to just stand there hoping that one day you fit through the slot that they were waiting for. Like, don't do that to yourself. It's not worth it. Their love is half-assed, and there is someone out there who will love you as you are now. Please don't waste your time. Keep moving on. Keep moving on. What was that quote again? People in love with your potential hate you. People who love your future self hate your present self. Also, don't ever do self-improvement for pussy. It's the worst motivation ever, because you might not get the pussy, and then you'll think that you grew for nothing, and you should never feel disappointed for having grown, right? This is why I don't like debates. I used to love debating as a kid. Now that I've grown up, I hate it, because it makes learning feel like losing. Because either you're right or you have shit to learn from this engagement, this conversation. And when you can win or lose an argument, it means that the loser learns. And learning is one of the best things and the most important things you'll ever do in your life. And so, like, if you learn only when someone dangles pussy in front of you like a gold star and a cookie, if you think that there's going to be a gold star, a cookie, and a blowjob at the end of this journey as a reward, you're never going to develop into the person you're supposed to be, and you're never going to develop for the right reasons. I love you. How was the 100 questions experience? It was nice. Tommy's really nice. Genuinely, like, backstage before anything even started, he was lovely to talk to. Any advice for a young adult like myself? What should I focus on to be fulfilled in life? It doesn't really matter where you end up, but you'll realize that it was the journey that was the whole point. Okay? So stop worrying about making the wrong decision. You're going to make many wrong decisions. Sometimes the wrong decisions will be more important than the ones that were right. Okay? So there are plenty of things I got right in life, but some of the things I got wrong made me. Okay? I learned to be good at judging people by the people that I misjudged. They taught me how to assess a good person from a bad person so much better than the good people did. The good people, if I purely picked good people and only hung out with good people and was like, yep, you seem trustworthy, like, we're just going to be nice to each other. If I just got lucky and found nice people from the start, my earth would have been shattered the first time I got betrayed. But the people who were awful taught me a lot about lies and how to spot them. The people who were awful taught me how to protect myself, how to stay safe, and how much a good person is truly worth. Like a good friend, it really showed me their value. I don't take them for granted at all. Okay? And there are so many things like that that will teach you. A lot of people get degrees they never use. A lot of people do not know what a cool job is when they're 16, 17, 18. So they study stupid stuff that they never use. And that's okay, because there are 1,000, if not a million chances to find something fun to do. And I think the main thing I would tell myself as a young adult, like when I was in my early 20s, is life has chapters. Your meaning in life will change as you grow. Okay, so all the meaning in your life might be being a parent for a decade or two, and then it might be being a good employee or a good community member, or it might be this hobby that you've fallen in love with. A good story has chapters, and this means that if you really got into something but you don't do it now, it doesn't mean you're a failed basketball player. It doesn't mean that you used to be a skateboarder. It means that you have all these amazing chapters to look back on when you're old. You will remember so many stages of life, and they all have different flavors, different stories to them. That is cool. That is not a failing. Don't overcommit to stuff or take it too seriously. You're gonna have chapters. So you don't have to get it right. There's no way to do life right. All of your decisions will have value. Either it goes well or you learn. I love you. That was beautiful. Thank you. Good luck. I'm glad you like that. It's never too late. Yeah, what I just said means it's never too late either. Like, my mom had a kid, got a science degree, had a little break in life where she just had fun for a bit, and then she got another degree in photography. She was so many things. And, I think her second degree was in her 40s, if I remember correctly. Straight up just became a photographer in her 40s. So many people think, oh, I've done this and that now, it's too late for me to follow anything new or get a new dream or try anything new. I know a guy who trained for his ideal job in his 50s, went to college and university in his 50s for his ideal job, got his ideal job and met his wife in his 50s, after he had 2 kids, after he'd had many careers, didn't have many savings to his name, no mortgage, no nothing. And a lot of people would sit there and go, well, I just never did life. It's too late for me now. He didn't. He just built a whole life in his 50s, and he's loving his life now. It's amazing. So yeah, what I just said means that it's never too late. Marriage is dated as fuck. I mean, I'm happy for people who get married. I don't want to get married myself. I don't think it really applies to my life aspirations. I think I would love to have a long-term relationship. It'd be even cooler if it lasted my whole life. But I don't think that marriage has anything to do with whether or not your relationship is worthwhile or official or like gonna work. If anything, like for me, I think getting married would be a threat to the longevity of a relationship rather than help it. How do you deal with uncertainty? I mean, I've just learned to love it, because if you can't change something about the world, you have to learn to make it benefit you. That's just how you deal with it. That is the key. If you want to love your life, that's like top skill, right? And so for me, I can't predict what's going to come out of my mouth every 60 seconds. I can't predict whether or not I'm still going to have a home to live in next year. I mean, even if you buy a house, there could be an earthquake or something. A natural disaster could take it away from you. Or you could get ill. Like, you could have an amazing job. You could study, do everything right, and then become disabled within like a few years and then not have any of it. Even if you make all the right decisions, everything is uncertain. Nothing is promised. You can't dictate anything, right? So I enjoy it. I enjoy not knowing what's going to come tomorrow. And I'm like, whatever happens, I trust myself. I trust that I'll be able to handle it. I gained that trust through trial and error. I made a lot of bad decisions when I was younger. I picked the wrong partners and things like this. And I look back on that and I don't mistrust myself because of it. I trust myself more because I gained the XP. I know how to look out for myself. And no matter how bad things get, I always land on my feet because I'm still here. And all those things that were like really present in my mind, absolute disasters at the time, I barely remember them anymore. They're a distant memory and I don't even think about it most of the time. And that was like my whole world, and I was miserable and I thought my life was ruined, all that stuff back then. And now I'm just like, guess that happened. Anyway. And so like, I know that things that seem big now are just going to be a distant memory one day. And that every time I've proven to myself, time and time again, I can survive it all. I can build a life after anything. I've been through a lot. I've been through homelessness, domestic violence, like, all sorts of awful things. And I come out the other end and I fucking love my life. I was depressed for most of my life. Past 8 years I've not been depressed at all. Oh, hello, Pete. He's asking for attention. Yeah, I've got the foot. Do you want the foot? Sometimes he's like, I don't want the foot. I want real love. Yeah, he doesn't want the foot. I'm sorry, mate. I'll love you after the stream, okay?
Nice.
Thank you. E. Holzman, thanks so much for the 10 gifty, sweetheart. I hope you're doing good. So yeah, like for me, the uncertainty is a gift. Didn't always used to be. I really craved stability. I was desperate for stability. So desperate. But I've given up on that now. And I'm like, yeah, the world is chaos. And that's okay. Like, I like that tomorrow is either it goes well or I learn. Because everything I've had to learn from, everything hard, was worth it. I made it worth it. I trust myself. I can handle those experiences. So build trust with yourself. Be a good parent to yourself. Look after yourself. And it doesn't matter what experiences you go through, you may not be able to trust the stability of tomorrow, but you can bring the stability tomorrow. You can be the stability. You can be everything you need for yourself. So yeah. I like that it's random. It feels like rolling a dice. Every day feels like rolling a dice. Thanks for that. I needed to hear it. Good. Like, there is a positive slant to everything that's horrible about being a human, I promise. Like, I'm not an optimist by any means. I wouldn't call this optimism, but I can say that there are a lot of things that are unexpectedly way cooler than you think that we experience and have to go through. Like, you might be insecure about a few things about your body or your life or your personality, but that isn't actually supposed to be a criticism. That's meant to be you realizing your potential. If you look at something and you're like, that could be better, you know how it could be, go do it. I could be smarter. I don't feel smart enough. Go read then, bitch. You just spotted your potential. You've looked at yourself and you've gone, there's a bit that could be more awesome. You have control over that. It wasn't ever meant to be a way that you punish yourself and hate yourself every day. It was always meant to be a way for you to just keep getting more awesome. That's not... Stop critiquing yourself. Start seeing your potential. Thank you. I wish everyone gets the chance to live, as Anita says. Things are unpredictable and life is better not to stress about the stuff you can't control. Exactly. You have to let it go. I saw in a chocolate box once. I used to like getting bougie bougie chocolates. And one of the little cards says, relax. Nothing is under control. And it's so fucking true. It's like everything you think you control, you don't. It's all out of control. There really is no certainty. You might as well relax. You were floating on a fucking feather this whole time. None of this was weighed down. None of this was guaranteed. The whole fucking time. It's always been chaos. What a great piece of random wisdom from a chocolate box. Oh, it's a mixed bag, Sonny. I once told my friend, I love these. There's always really profound advice in them. And I opened the box and I pulled out the card and I read it out to him excitedly, like, what piece of wisdom does the chocolate say today? And it went, do clams know what they're doing? I was like, oh, maybe not today then. Never mind. My mom used to collect them. My mom had like a little thing on her wall. She used to pin them all in a row on the wall. I don't know what it is about this necklace. Is it black or brown? It's killing me. Why would that matter? Why would that kill you? It's kind of gray. It's just gray. Bitch. I wish I loved you. You're not a simp. When do you think wisdom came into my life? It didn't. Everyone's winging it. Everyone's improvising. You just get better at handling things as you go along. And I don't think I'm particularly wise. I don't think you ever get to a point where it's like, I'm not figuring out anything anymore. I'm here. I've arrived. I'm an adult. I know how to do everything. Bitch. I think that, like, I've been in a lot of situations. I've figured out my way of handling it. Doesn't apply to everyone. Therefore, it shouldn't count as wisdom. My recipe for happiness is not yours. But sometimes there's some overlap, and sometimes the things that I've learned can be shortcuts for you, because maybe you don't have to go through a terrible breakup to learn the thing that I learned. Maybe you can just skip that part, you know? So sometimes it's helpful and sometimes it's not. Huh. I love you. Your videos and lives have helped me stay sane over the past year. Been in and out of hospital for the past year, and your videos have helped me keep to the positives. That's amazing. I hope you get better soon. I hope you get more time out of the hospital now. Any books you'd recommend reading? Non-fiction books, I'd say Delusions of Gender, Mistakes Were Made But Not by Me, Reinventing Your Life, and How to Make Friends and Influence People. Delusions of Gender is a neuroscientist talking about how our differences are not as wide as people think. Like, men and women are actually far more similar than people think. And the reason we think we're really, really different from each other is fucking fascinating, but the science doesn't back it up. And so she goes into those examples, and it unlocked a lot of skills for me and stopped me from stereotyping myself in a way that allowed me to be like a much more capable human being. So I think it's just like a good read because it'll help you understand yourself and others in a whole new light. I think Mistakes Were Made But Not by Me is about how most human beings lie to themselves all of the time, and you're doing it right now. All of us do. There's not a single person on this planet who is exempt from this. We all have to do it by instinct. We have been designed to lie to ourselves. And the more you understand about the process, the cooler of a person you can become. Okay, so that one really, really important. Reinventing your life, even if it doesn't teach you about how you handle things, it might make other people's really confusing and incomprehensible behavior much more understandable. It will teach you so much about human beings. It helped me with a lot of my personal issues, but even if your issues aren't the ones described in the book, it will help you to help your friends and be a better person in general. And How to Make Friends and Influence People isn't really about influencing people. It's about being a good person and being likable, but being genuine, not having to fake anything, but still being likable. Being able to help people out of really horrible confrontational situations, being able to diffuse arguments, these sorts of things. It just will make you awesome at human interaction. So I think it's really good. The fact that it's still a bestseller 100 years after it was written tells you everything you need to know. It is still relevant today as it was 100 years ago. Fantastic book on human behavior and how to handle things. Kaiju, thank you so much. What is up, legends? So the Raver said, "Hi Anita, fuck off. How long-time content watcher? Long-time content watcher, first-time commenter. Any useful advice on dealing with chronic illness, especially when it comes to getting and holding a job?" So I had a therapist who had a very severe lifelong condition that will never get better, and it made everything a struggle for her, even leaving the house. And so she became a therapist, and she made her home into a therapy room, and she did therapy for people who are not neurotypical, especially children. And she was really amazing at her job. And I used to go and see her once a week, and she completely transformed my life. But it wasn't just that she was a fantastic therapist, because she was. She really did so much for me when many other therapists failed, and she was like one of the most pivotal people that I'm so glad I met in my lifetime. But also, she was showing me, because I'm facing down, inevitably having lots of horrible lifelong conditions that will never get better and really fuck with my ability to do anything. I vomit multiple times a day, you know, sometimes 20 times a day. It could be ridiculous. I am in constant pain. I have learning difficulties, and, the Tourette's interferes with my life, but I have other conditions too. And she had this condition, completely fucked with her life. And here she was, changing mine for the better, holding down a job and being amazing at it. And so she did that by working from home, scheduling her sessions around her capability, and, setting her own like fee and everything so that she could live and she could hold everything down. And she showed me that you could do something purposeful, meaningful, and amazing at any level of capability. And that if the world just isn't working for you, like, you can, well, I think it's not like, can you work for the world? It's whether the world can work for you. So she created a job and she created a life that fit around her illness. And she did a remarkable job of that. She showed me that there's some stuff to look forward to. There's meaning to be had, no matter how hard things get for you. And she made me feel confident that no matter how sick I get, I know what things I would still love to live to do, even if it gets hard, even if it gets painful. There are things that will still matter to me, still be worth waking up for, no matter how bad things get. And I think if you start isolating the things for you that would give you meaning, even if it was hard, even if it hurt, then you won't have to fear the development of your condition. You won't have to fear how things are in 10 or 20 years or 30 years. So she taught me that, and maybe she secondhand can teach you that too. Do you think therapy will help me move on in life? I can't focus on my job. My ex left me and it's been 5 months and I still feel very sad about it. It's a void I'm unable to fill. I know I will start to feel better with time, but every time someone leaves me, I feel like there's just no meaning at that point. I don't know if I can feel what I can do to feel any better. I feel like you can heal at your own pace and that breakups are normal. Most people have at least 4 relationships in their lifetime. So breakup is like a level of heartbreak that is incredibly painful, especially if you're a very loving, trusting person. It can hurt so fucking much. And that's okay. It's okay to just feel it. And it's okay to self-soothe and take care of yourself as long as you're soothing in healthy ways. If you think that no matter what you do, you are not able to do something, like it's getting in your way, your feelings, you don't know how to manage them, you don't know how to organize the way that you're dealing with things, and it's now getting in the way of your life, and you can't reorganize your pattern of behavior or your pattern of thoughts, absolutely go to a therapist. That's what they're there for. They're there to help you reorganize how you handle shit. They're there to help you refigure out life, refigure out how to deal with certain challenges, for example, and uninternalize things. Just because you're not right for this person doesn't mean that you won't be right for someone in the future. And I think like the loneliness aspect is really important to draw a circle around, because once you're a good friend to yourself, you're never lonely again. People are an optional extra that you invite because you like them, not because you need them to distract from yourself. Getting lonely can quite often be a symptom of not being good company to yourself. And when you're good company to yourself, people are naturally drawn to you, so you don't even have to try to make friends anymore. You don't even have to try to make connections with people anymore. The biggest connection you need to make is with yourself. And it will make the coming and going of the people in your life so much easier, because you will lose friends, you will lose partners, you will lose family members. Everyone you will ever know is temporary. And I think like one of the important things is to love people, and it's okay to miss them, but you will get better and better at knowing that people are temporary, at like falling in love with the time you get with people, even though it's finite. but I should probably go. I really wish I could hang out with you longer, but I usually stream for about 3 hours a day, and we are just at 2:59. So I'm gonna raid on Twitch. Unfortunately, the YouTube viewers, fuck off, fuck off. You're probably fucked. You're probably not gonna get sent over with this. But those of you on Twitch, I will send you to somebody who I admire and would love to say hello. Let's see. I've got lots of options today. Who shall I pick? How about this person? I love you. Bitch. Okay, so go say hello to Carnage for me, and be good, and I will see you again on Wednesday. Yeah. Until then, take good care of yourselves. Fuck off, and hopefully I see you again. Okay? I'll say goodnight to the YouTube people now. Good night, everyone. Have a good one.